Hello, boys and girls, and welcome to the second annual Spooktacular episode of the Nothing to Play podcast, a mediocre podcast about video games, movies, and spooky ghouls. As always, it's your boy, Just in Time Carter, and back on the podcast, I couldn't believe it. Almost a fucking year since he was on here. Time sure flew by. It's my boy Bean Dip.
It's been a long ass time.
And I saw on Facebook your Halloween costume of Bob Ross, and I want to applaud you deciding to pull off that costume in full blackface.
Oh, shut up.
Very bold.
Nope, that did not happen. But I was Bob Ross, yes. Yeah. My wife and I went to a Halloween party with some of her friends, a lady she used to work with last night, and so they were dressing up, and it was my wife's idea. That was Ronnie's idea to do the costume. It worked out pretty well. So yeah, I was Bob Ross, and she was a happy little tree. So she basically like had this kind of like dress that was like a canvas.
Yeah,
it looked like a Bob Ross painting and everything. Yeah, that was pretty good.
So how have you been? Like, it has been a minute. A lot has happened since you were on the podcast
There's
last.
Been several minutes.
It's been almost a year. So
how many minutes is that?
2021 recap. What's Brandon been up to?
Well, so we're empty nesting now. I was talking about my before you started your official intro. I was talking about our teenagers that we used to have at the house. And they are no more. No,
yeah, Brandon had to put him down. HOA came around and was like, "You can't have kids," and he's like, "Sorry."
HOA's like, "You can't have kids." Yeah, exactly. No, they're out of the house. They're on their own. My son's got his own apartment and everything. He was the last one to leave the house. Just graduated last year. So yeah, we downsized. It's pretty interesting. It's like another phase of life, finding newfound like free time and hobbies and stuff like that. So yeah, Ronnie and I have actually been like going to the gym, since we got time now, and actually like trying to get healthier and things like that. So before it's
let me ask, does it feel now that it's like the kids have left the nest, in like your memory, does it feel like how you remember like when you lived without roommates for the first time? Like that similar feeling of you're like, dude, I could literally like be like in my underwear eating like
a little bit
nachos and like I can do whatever the fuck I want because no one's here to be in the way.
Yeah, in the sense that I can just walk around the house in my underwear. Like in the morning I go let the dogs out and I don't have to like put clothes on first or put a robe on, I can just walk around. I'll like stand out in my backyard patio in my underwear while the dogs are going, and I'm just like, oh, I hope no neighbors look out their windows.
Yeah, schlong out like.
No, but so it's a little bit more freeing in that respect. It kind of feels almost like the last time I lived like by myself without roommates, because we're in a smaller space too.
Yeah.
Because we had like, our house was like huge, especially for two people. Like when we had kids in the house, it's like, okay, it's just enough space. But we had like a 2-story house, like 5 bedrooms and all that crap, and a pool that we had to take care of. And I'm like, yeah, we don't need any of this stuff with just the two of us. So it's pretty nice. Like we purged a lot, just got rid of all kinds of stuff we didn't need, and threw a few things in storage, and we got a tiny space that's way easier to take care of and just less stress and everything. So it's pretty cool. But at the same time, like I was telling PJ, he was asking me about like, because he just had another baby. So
dude, I know that's like so crazy. I'm like, god damn, dude. Like I was like, when are you gonna sleep? Like, dude, ever. You keep causing more and more reasons for you to get less sleep at night.
He's not gonna sleep a wink for the next 18 years at least. But yeah, we were talking about it a little bit, because he's like, so what's it like not having kids in the house now? What's it like being empty
like
nesters?
Jonesing for that feeling.
Yeah,
come on, man,
please tell me. But I told him, I was like, as much as it's like exciting and it's kind of like a relief to not have some of the same kind of like stresses and being as busy with like other people's stuff all the time. It also, like, it's true that that you kind of miss it. I mean, obviously you miss it, you miss your kids and stuff, but this is kind of a random reference, but I don't know if you ever played the Xeno Saga games on PlayStation, like PS2. But one of those games, like the last one, there's a character near the end that's like basically it's like the end of his life, and he's reflecting back on everything, and he has this quote that I don't remember. I'll paraphrase it, but he's like saying, uh, life used to be so much more hectic, and now it's just I find it peaceful at the end, and I long for those hectic times, and that's like that quote kept like running through my mind, like as I'm like you know walking around the house with nobody else in it. I'm just like, yeah, there is sort of like something that you miss about just when your life is busier and hectic and you've got all these, just got like lots more people in the house and stuff. So I don't know, it's just
Like,
different.
I mean, I get that. Like, I mean, I think about times when it's like I used to live with Matt and Chris and stuff, and like, it was fun, like living with your best friends, just coming home and like there was always like shit going on and like shit to do and whatever.
Yeah.
And like people were up at all hours of the night doing stuff. And
Yeah, that's like Ronnie and I like to take like vacations, like little weekend trips and stuff to Vegas and go see
Mhm.
like shows and everything. We don't gamble or do anything like that there, but we go there and see shows and listen to music and just like watch people do street performance and stuff like that. And there's just like always something going on there. And it's why it's one of my favorite places I've ever been, because I just love the like amount of energy and life that's going on like on the Vegas Strip at all times a day, like all throughout like 24 hours a day. So yeah, it's the same kind of thing. It's like I like being around like stuff happening, even if I'm not like participating in it. I just love having people and like things happening around me. So yeah, it's different when it's like super quiet.
And yet PJ's like, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. He's like hitting you in the face. He's like, you're crazy, man. He's like, I'm like going out into the car just for 10 minutes of
Yeah.
silence looking for a phone that I know is in my pocket right now.
Yeah. Oh man. It's hard to have you ever talked to PJ on the phone while he's at home?
um,
It's difficult.
no, I've heard PJ answer the phone while he's at home.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it sounds like he's like in a fucking Los Angeles subway station, like trying to hold a fucking phone call.
Yeah, it's like really hard. Even if you want to have a quick conversation, it's so hard to do because he's constantly getting interrupted by his kids. Even if they're not like talking to him, they're just like doing something. He's like, "Hey, what the hell are you doing? No, 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 stop that! Hey, put that down! Stop touching him!" It's just ridiculous. Yeah.
Well, and then PJ's like outside getting the mail, and then his like watch goes off, and Vanessa's like, "Where the fuck are you?" And he's like, "Oh my god!" And he's like
Yeah.
checking. He's like running to the neighbor's house, like checking their mail.
Yeah, like I actually got to have lunch with PJ like a couple weekends ago, something like that. And it's funny because like every time that he's able to like get away from the house for like a little bit, like it's only a matter of time before he's getting messages on his phone like, "Where are you? When are you going to be home?"
Oh,
Like
all the time, dude.
it's
I've
like, "Dude, I
been
never get to get away."
I've been
Yeah.
at Matt's when like PJ would come over to like talk boss battle stuff, and he's just like there for like 15 minutes, but you would think he was there for
Yeah.
fucking 3 hours. Like
Yeah.
it's like
It's like it's like nothing can operate when he's not at his house. It's like all of a sudden
yeah.
it's like a disaster. It's like chaos ensues as soon as
Every
he walks out the
time.
door, and he's just like,
Every
what,
time.
what?" Yeah, it's like, "What happened? I just barely left." Yeah, it's crazy.
So for the spooktacular, I need to know what is not only your favorite Halloween candy, like either could be when you were a kid, if it's still there now, and the worst Halloween candy, like the shit that you were most like bummed out to get.
Oh, the worst one's probably super easy. Um, Yeah, I think I would go with those garbage toffee things that nobody even knows the name of, that come in like the black or orange like wrapping, the super generic things. They have like no markings on them, you know. They have like a little like wax paper twist wrapping on them. You know what I'm talking about?
Kind
Yeah,
of.
yeah, those things I don't like those. I mean, there's more than that. Those are probably my first pick for like the shittiest ones. I also am just not a huge fan of like Tootsie Rolls in general, and people always like get that mixed bag that just has like a shit ton of Tootsie Rolls in it.
Yeah.
And that's like the last thing I'll eat. Um, yeah, those. I'm trying to think of something else that I don't like, but anyway, but yeah, I would go with those just the super generic, like anything that's really generic. If it doesn't have a brand name on it, not that I'm like all like snooty and it has to have a brand name, but seriously, like if your candy doesn't have a brand name on it, if you're like hiding behind anonymity, it's because you know that your candy is shit. Those ones suck. And my favorite, that's gonna be kind of a close one between probably Reese's peanut butter cups, like the traditional Reese's peanut butter cups, like the big ones, ideally. But any of them are good. Any peanut butter and chocolate is good. So those, or like Kit Kats. I'm pretty like boring there. Just the typical kinds of. They're not even like, it's not even like they're Halloween candies specifically, right? That's just stuff that you can get at the candy
Yeah,
aisle in the
but
grocery
it's
store
like
any time of
that's
year. But
that's fine because I mean, really, like the only actual like Halloween candy is probably like candy corn, and
yeah,
I
yeah,
don't know anyone.
I actually do like candy corn. Um,
I I like candy, like I like the flavor of candy corn,
yeah,
but my mom loves it, and so I will never like go out of my way to get some. But when I go over to her, I will like
yeah,
grab a small handful while I'm there and just like
right,
gorge on
exactly. I
candy
don't
corn.
think I've ever bought candy corn, but if it's there, yeah, I'll snack on it, especially if it's like the only thing there. But yeah, I totally don't mind at all. Okay, so when you eat candy corn, do you have a certain way of eating it? Because I do. I'm just curious.
So so there's times where I will just eat them normal, just whole. But then
Okay.
there's also times where I will bite off each individual color.
Yes, that's
And
exactly how I eat them every single time.
as a kid, I would do this biting off every single color, but I would leave all the yellow ones last and then make them teeth in my mouth. Like I'd try and push them over my
Oh my
teeth without
god!
breaking the like yellow to do like an entire row of
Wow,
teeth.
I've never
But
seen that.
but
That's funny. That's like
but
putting
yeah.
olives on your fingers when you're a kid, right?
We'll
When I
see.
was a kid,
And
my fingers were
I
small. I stick olives on them.
I fucking hate olives. So I mean, my cousin would do that, but I never liked all like the smell of olives.
Oh, I love
Always
them.
disgusted me. And then
Uh,
they're like, well, you just haven't tried them. And I tried it like once. Megan made me try it because she loves olives, and I spit that shit out. I'm like, nah,
oh
man, it's
man,
just not for me.
yeah. Ronnie doesn't like olives either. I don't get it. I love them. I'll even eat green olives, and most people hate green olives.
Well, that's what my cousin used to suck the pimento or whatever out of
Yeah.
the green olives and then eat them, and I'm just like, ugh.
Yeah. But yeah, I got so I eat candy corn the same way, where I bite off the like different colors each section. And that reminded me of this isn't Halloween necessarily, although you can find these things for like any time of year. But Peeps, like there's always like
Hmm.
Peeps every time of year, right? But they started with Easter, obviously, with like just the simple like the bunnies
Chicks.
and chicks. And so like I have a specific way of eating each of those too. Like if it's the bunny Peeps, I always bite the ears off first, and then I bite the head off, and then I eat the rest. So kind of like with the candy corn, I just go like top down basically.
Yeah.
And then with the chicks, I like to bite the tails off first. I don't know why. I bite the tail off, and then I bite the head off, and then I eat the body. Yeah. So it's always like the appendage goes first, and then the head, and then the rest of it.
And in chick, you're just
Started
like
a
ass, like
lot.
immediately.
Right. Yeah.
Um,
Give me that
yeah.
ass.
I would say for me as a kid, the like candy I hated getting the most was like almond joys or
Oh,
like payday, just because I don't like peanuts.
I
I
don't like
just
nuts and
never,
chocolate, like
yeah,
at
I
all.
just never have and stuff. So getting that stuff, that's literally like stuff I wouldn't even touch. So my mom or whatever and dad would get those
Yeah.
because I was just like, but my favorite stuff to always get was always like the sour candy, like the warheads, like the
Yeah.
anything like the trolley, like eggs or worms or whatever. Like I loved bottle caps. I also really liked bottle caps, especially like the
Yeah.
Coke flavored and
The
cherry
different
flavored
flavors.
ones.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Those are cool. Oh, did you ever have the little gummy ones or like root beer flavored? Those are good. I don't
gummy
know if
root
I've seen them at
beer.
Halloween time, but there's like little gummy candies you can get that are shaped like soda
Oh,
bottle.
okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've seen those. I've had those before. Those
Those
are
are pretty
good.
good too.
Yeah.
I was gonna say you brought up like almond joys and stuff like that that's got nuts in it, and I agree. Like I would never eat those either, so those should probably be on the bottom of my list. The only reason I think I wouldn't put them all the way on the bottom of my list is because there's always somebody else that will eat those, and so they're
Yeah.
like trade candy. So you could like take them to school and trade them with other people or with your siblings or something. So those I wouldn't automatically just toss those because I'm like, okay, I can trade these for something better.
You're like, these are actually doable. You're like, this, however.
Yeah, this has some value. So are you like dressing up or anything for Halloween? Are you doing anything?
No, I went last night. I went to because in game that video game bar is open
Yeah.
again.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, yeah, they
Oh, sweet.
opened a while ago, like a couple of months ago, I think.
It's the one in
But
Tempe, right?
yeah, it was the one that used to be in Tempe.
Oh, where are
Um,
they now?
it's still, I want to say it's still like kind of Tempe, like Mesa area,
Okay.
but it's way bigger. It is way bigger. It's way nicer. I'd say more like cohesive, I guess, in there. Like it has like a certain like actual theme kind of to
Oh,
it
cool.
and stuff. And they kind of sit you down. You can like move areas and stuff. They have all the consoles out and stuff, and you can sit. And then like they have the little card system, and people come over and like swap your games for you and bring you food and drinks and like whatever you need.
Nice.
So we went to they had like a Halloween thing there last night, and so me and Matt went and had a couple drinks and played some Mario Party 4 and some Mario Kart Double Dash.
Nice.
But then
Sweet.
tonight we're just handing out candy because we live right next to like an elementary school
Oh
and
yeah.
like a middle school is pretty close next to us too. So we had way more trick or treaters last year than I thought we would with it being like COVID and shit. Like, and we still
Yeah.
like emptied out our candy bowl. So I was like, damn, dude, I imagine it's going to be even busier than that this year now that there's no like mandates or anything that
Yeah.
anyone has to really abide by.
Yeah, I was surprised how many people were out trick or treating the last couple times too. So
Yeah, so we made sure to get like 3 bags of candy and stuff because I'm like, dude, I don't want to be
nice.
that house, that
Yeah.
like you shaft someone one year and then like they're like, oh, we're never going back to that house again.
Yeah. Dude, it's so tough to like get the right amount of candy too. You're always like, okay, how many people do I think there's gonna be? And so you like buy a certain amount of candy and it's either way too much or way too little. Then you gotta like run to the store in the middle of it. That sucks.
Right? And that's why like we made sure this year like we got a bag of your typical kind of it has like Hershey's in it, like the Whoppers, I think there's Reese's, there's like Kit Kat, and then I don't know. I think like Payday, like something. It's like an assortment of
Hmm.
like 5 things, and then I got like a big bag of the blow pops because I know like especially like little kids like since we have like the K through 6 school or whatever like right there, and a lot
Hmm.
of little kids like the big like suckers are like the way to go.
Yeah.
And then I got a pack that had like lemon heads and the trolley and whatever because that's like the actual candy I'll eat. So I'm like, if we have any left over, like I will eat that because I won't usually eat a lot of the chocolate stuff.
Yeah. 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 Then you always end up with leftover candy that you're eating for days. You're like, oh, this isn't good.
Exactly. Exactly. And I know like last year I was like, cause I didn't think there was going to be that many trick or treaters last year. So when the first couple started showing up, I was doing like big boy fucking handfuls of candy to like these
Right.
kids and stuff trying to get rid
Oh
of it.
man.
And then once I saw like look down the street and see like a row of like 15 kids and shit go out, I'm like, uh-oh. I'm like, all right,
What's
down to
happening?
everyone gets 2 pieces. You get 2 pieces and then get the fuck off my doorstep. Next kid, 2 pieces. Open your pillow sack. Get out of here. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not expecting to see any trick or treaters here since we live in like a really quiet area, and like I said, it's not like a traditional neighborhood. It's closer to a apartment community, but like it's just super quiet here, and I haven't even seen like
yeah.
hardly any kids at all.
Bring,
So
Brandon's like, I just dust off the old Minch on a bench and put him in the windowsill. He's like, turn the kids away. Like, we don't celebrate
Yeah.
Halloween.
We didn't even decorate. We didn't put up anything this year. We will for Christmas, but yeah, we don't really have not a lot of outdoor Halloween decorations, at least anyway.
So then my next question for you.
Yes.
Favorite costume as a kid?
Favorite costume that I've worn?
Yes.
Yeah.
Or some of them at least. Like, you
Oh
don't have to
man.
pick just one. Just tell me some of your past Halloween costumes of
Does
old.
it have to be as a kid or just any
I mean, it could be
time?
whatever. I don't know. You
Okay.
tell me. You
Um,
tell
I
me.
mean, so when I was like an adult, but years ago when I lived in Tucson, I dressed as Batman. I had like the like super realistic looking like Batman cowl, like the rubber one and everything, kind of looked like the like Tim Burton Batman movies, you know.
Mhm.
So that was pretty sweet. I got like the black eye paint, eye makeup to put in the eye area, so it looked like more like the movies and stuff too, and pretty decent costume. I mostly like put the costume together itself. Like I just got like a black cape and you know black shirt and boots and stuff like that. I didn't have like a full on Batman costume, but it was pretty good. I wore that to like a work party, a work Halloween party, and there was a girl that I worked with there, and I had no idea, like we didn't know what each other was dressing as, and she came as Wonder Woman, so that was pretty cool. So we had like Batman and Wonder Woman at the same party, so that was neat.
You're like
Uh,
Justice League assembled.
right, right. That was way before the Justice League movies were even like a thing, at least the modern one. Um, Let me think. What else? Other good costumes have I done?
I liked
Trying
your
to think
Doctor
some of.
Strange one.
Oh yeah, dude, Doctor Strange. Thank you. I didn't even do that initially for Christmas. It was meant to just be for Comic Con, but then I did wear it or I'm sorry, Christmas. For
You
Christmas,
come
yeah.
out, you're like, ho, 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 children.
Yeah. No, but I made it for Comic-Con and then I wore it for Halloween that year when we were just staying home handing out candy. So I just dressed as Doctor Strange and stood in my driveway just handing out candy to kids. But yeah, that was a good one. I liked that one a lot. I feel like I did that one. Like I was able to pull that one off like the the last time I possibly could because my hair just keeps getting like thinner. So I've been cutting it shorter and shorter. And for that costume, I had to like grow it out long enough that you could see like the gray hair on the sides. Cause like I didn't color my hair or anything. Like my hair
Yeah.
is like gray on the sides now. So I was like, oh, this is perfect. I like, cause I already had like people commenting after the first Doctor Strange movie came out. Occasionally I'd be like, hey, has anyone ever told you look like Doctor Strange? And I was like, yeah, I can kind of see that, especially if I grow my hair out. So I was just like, fuck it, I'm just going to grow my hair out and do Doctor Strange. And then it was like funny because once I got the costume and it was like almost time to like dress up and everything, I had like even more people tell me I look like Doctor Strange, and I was like, okay, yeah, this is gonna be a good costume then. Yeah, so I that was fun. That was cool to be able to do that while I still could, but I'm not sure how much longer I could pull that one off. Yeah. So yeah, I honestly that's probably my favorite costume I've done so far because that was like the easiest and that was like the one that fit the most. I regret never having dressed up as Agent Smith from the Matrix because like if I shave and I let my hair grow out a little bit, like so it's not just all super short on the sides like it is right now, and just like comb it straight over, do like the traditional haircut sort of thing that he has. I look so much like him. Like I don't know if you've ever seen pictures of me when I was a little bit younger when I used to have my hair like that all the time, and like if I was wearing black sunglasses, I looked so much like Agent Smith. I've had like at my current job and even like previous ones I've worked at, I'll use like an Agent Smith avatar image, like a picture of his face as my avatar in like systems at work, like when like emails pop up for me, it'll show that picture and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And I've had people legitimately think that was a picture of my face. that I was just doing like a costume of him or something. So that'd be really cool to do sometime. But I'm like, again, my hair is just like getting thinner and it's like receding and everything. I'm like, I don't know if I can pull that off now. So,
But then it's like in the new Matrix movie, he's in it and he's like bald, and you're like, yes.
right, right.
You're like, my time has come.
Yeah, yeah. Dude, that's the thing about like cosplaying just in general. Like I think of like things all the time. I'm like trying to think of characters I could cosplay as, like just for Halloween or for if I go to a convention or something like that. And like I always want to like I never want to just like try to put on something that I don't look like at all and just like, like put like a big wig on or something where like it's covering all my features and like anybody could be that character. I always want to like dress as something that I feel like I could naturally pull off by either like, oh, I shave or I cut my hair a certain way or I put some makeup on. And but like I always try to think of like somebody that like looks around like my build or my age or something like that. And it's like I feel like it's just getting tougher like the older you get, because like most cool looking characters are like super young or
Yeah.
whatever. They got really nice hair, and I'm like, man, I don't know what I can do.
You're like, Charles Xavier, here I come.
Right? Like anything that Kevin Spacey plays, I could probably do. Like I don't know, it's tough.
I know, dude, like some of my favorite, because as I got older, I feel like my costumes, got lazier, I guess.
Right?
Like,
Yeah.
I didn't really like, but as a kid, like one of my favorites was I was Steve Irwin. But it was like when he was actually alive, but I like had like the entire like safari like outfit like him, and I had like a rubber snake around my neck, and I had like the hat and like everything.
Nice.
Because I was like super into Steve Irwin at that point. And
Nice.
then I know I was Green Ranger one year,
Oh, that's
which
cool.
was awesome because I had my little flute dagger and the mask, and my mom's friend Cindy actually sewed my costume and stuff. So I had like the gloves and I had the gold little fucking thing, and it was all shiny and like everything, even though it was like
Nice.
fabric. It was so good.
That's
Um,
cool.
and I don't. So one of my least favorite costumes that I ever had was, I think it was my like sixth grade, maybe seventh grade like costume, and I got like the Michael Myers mask from Halloween, and I was so excited because I was like I really wanted to dress up as him, but I never before Halloween actually came, like I got the mask, but I never was able to get the actual jumpsuit
Huh.
part. And so my mom bought me this like fucking from Fry's. It was like a brown monk robe. So I ended up wearing the Michael Myers mask with this weird brown like cult monk robe fucking thing. And everyone was like so fucking confused as to like what I was doing. They're like, dude, are you like some like Michael Myers like Jedi like priest thing? Like what the fuck are you, man? And I was just like, man,
Yeah,
dude, this sucks. Like I couldn't get the other half.
that's funny. Yeah, those like patchwork costumes are
Yeah,
always fun.
exactly. I was just like,
Slapping
man.
together like whatever you have around the house sometimes, like I've totally done that. Like last minute, I'm like, oh, I've got this wig and this mask and, some weird like clothes and boots, put something together and like come up with a theme, be like, yeah, I'm such and such guy. It's like, what?
I'm this guy. I'm guy number
Yeah.
6.
Yeah. I did a few years back I did Superman, but it was like I didn't want to just do like the full on like Superman costume because like everybody does that and you can just buy those in the store and stuff. So I did like I was Clark Kent but transforming into Superman like he was changing or something. So I had like slacks and button down white shirt and everything like Clark Kent, and I had the big like prop glasses and stuff so I
Mhm.
so I looked like him. And then I had like this like tight fitting like costume Superman shirt that I found at like one of the stores at the last minute. So like it didn't have like all the muscle and stuff built on like the costume ones do, but it was just like this super tight fitting shirt that had the S and looked like it was made of
Yeah,
like
like
some
some like
special
Under
material.
Armour,
Yeah, it's like an
kind of
Under
shirt.
Armour kind of thing. Yeah, so I had that under my shirt, and I just kept like the dress shirt like unbuttoned like halfway down the whole time, so like I could just pose for pictures and kind of like pull it open a little bit. It looked like Superman like getting changed, and then Ronnie dressed as Lois Lane, so we had like pictures where I'm like holding her and stuff. It was pretty cool. So that was a
That's
good one.
cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, because I think the only other like costumes I can even remember as that I actually had was I had Finn from Adventure Time.
nice.
And so I like would like wear that like for work and stuff like when it was. And the other one that I had for like years and years, I finally like retired both of them. That was my Waldo one.
Oh, that's
Like,
cool.
where's
I think I
Waldo?
saw
Because
pictures of that one.
yeah, because like when I actually had hair, same as you, it's like when I actually had
Right.
hair and stuff, I could wear the Waldo. I had the hat and the shirt, and then I had like these like crown blue, like fucking stretchy, skinny jean, like Levi's and stuff, and like the Converse, and would walk around. I wore it to San Diego Comic Con and stuff, and people all the time
Nice.
were, found you, found you. And everyone, like, I was with Matt and Chris and the Tanner, and they're like, dude, you're not wearing this shit on Sunday. Like, you're not wearing this all weekend. They're like, if I have to fucking walk around and listen to Found You like 57 fucking times in the last 5
Right.
minutes.
That's funny. Did you ever see PJ's Frozone costume?
Yeah, dude, PJ rocked it.
He wore that to Comic-Con, and like he didn't even tell me what he was dressed up, but he totally rocked that. That was like the perfect fucking costume because he looks just like him too. Like he doesn't have to change anything. Like he's got the short hair and everything. He just like pulled it off perfectly. But we went to Comic-Con and he didn't tell me what he was dressing up as, and he just shows up and I was like, "Oh my god, that's so awesome." And then like I'm walking around Comic-Con with him, and like the whole time people just like randomly are just walking around, they see him, they're like, "Yo, Frozone, super suit." Like the whole time. And he's like, he had all these one-liners like practiced and everything, and he just like fire back at him.
That's funny.
It was great. He was like super big hit. Yeah.
That reminds me, like, at one of the, I don't remember like what I think it was one of the Phoenix Comic Cons that went to, like, one of the coolest costumes that I saw was some chick was dressed as the girl from the Grudge, the one like in the dress and stuff that like crawls all like weird. So we went to get our badges, and like in the main auditorium, like the doors are open, whatever, and while leaving she was tucked behind that door, and she came crawling out like on her hands, like chest extended in the air, like on her back, head all twisted, came scuttling forward from behind the door and scared the shit out of us. And someone was like taking a picture, and she had the hair like covering like just the one eye, and then she like kind of like scuttled back behind the door and stuff. And I'm like, dude, that's commitment. Like that.
Yeah, seriously.
Like that, like you took a normal costume concept and pushed it to the extent to where I was like, if I just saw him dressed walking around normal, it's like, but the fact that she was doing that shit, I was like, all right.
It's like super in character the whole time.
Yeah. I was like, that was fantastic.
That's awesome. I saw one of my favorite costumes that I've seen at Comic-Con was someone did Oogie Boogie from Nightmare Before Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
And like, it was really, really good. Like the full sack, like covering their entire body with the big mouth and black eyes and stuff. It was like really realistic. I was like, holy shit, how'd you do that?
Dude, I'm like, speaking of horror stuff, I'm so excited to I want to talk Squid Game with you.
Oh, okay.
Because I haven't gotten to, because we didn't really get to talk too much about it in the group chat and stuff, because people hadn't finished it or seen it all the way or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like, I haven't got to really talk to anyone about it since finishing it because it's so good.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, where do you want to start?
Well, I want to start at the fact that you fucking watched it in English. And you were like crying about the English dub. Like, of course it's not going to be good. It's meant to be in fucking Korean.
Sure. And
I totally understand that you said the reason you did it though was because you had it on like while you were working.
Yeah, I'm like working or I'm playing a video game and I'm just like trying to watch something at the same time. Because like I almost never sit down and just watch a show like by itself without anything else going on. It's either like if I ever do, it's because I'm watching a show with my wife, and so we're like watching it together and we're like commenting and like, you know, interacting and stuff. But if I'm just like in my office and I want to watch something, I'm like 100% of the time doing at least one or two other things at the same time. I'm like playing a video game and I'm like
doing your taxes and
right, like texting with people or like messaging
driving
with you assholes on Facebook. Yeah, I'm driving. Yeah, but so like it's really hard for me to get into anything with subtitles. Not like I'm not one of those people that's like, oh no, I can't do subtitles, I hate them or anything like that. It's just like I have a really hard time because like after like I'll get halfway through, like not even halfway through sometimes. Like if I try to watch any anime with subtitles, I'll get like 5-10 minutes in and I'm just getting like antsy to do something else, and I can't, because then I'm like looking back over it at every like 2 seconds, especially with anime, because they're like talking super fast. And so the subtitles, you got to like watch them the entire time. You can't real quickly go, oh, what did they say? What did they say? What did they say? It's like fucking shit. Like it's just like paragraph after paragraph. So same thing with Squid Game. I'm like, well, and here's the other thing too. I didn't even know that there was like, first of all, I knew nothing about the show when I went to watch. Like I knew like, cause I watched it on Netflix. And I saw like the little header that said what it was about, like the brief little synopsis. but I had no idea that it was made in Korea. I had no idea that, you know, it was in another language originally and that I was going to be watching a dub. I had no clue. So I just went to it and clicked play. And that's the default version that it gives me is the dubbed version. So yeah, but anyway, like yeah, so the dub wasn't great. But even if I felt like after I watched the first couple episodes, that's when I talked to you guys. I was like, yeah, this dub is kind of lame, and you guys are like, what the fuck? Why are you watching it like that? But even still, like I felt like if I switched it over to the Korean version and just watched and just read the subtitles, I still wouldn't have been like overly impressed because the acting itself, like you can tell even if you look through like the dub itself, you can tell that the acting was like not great. Like it was over the top and like exaggerated and stuff. But anyway, like it was fine though. I got past the dub because I was really curious, especially after the first episode. I was like, okay, you got my interest. I want to see where this is going. Because that first episode, dude, like the first half of it, I'm just like, all right, this is building up to something. Like, where are they going with this? And then when they start playing red light, green light, like at the beginning of that, when they first take out the first guy and everyone starts freaking out, I was like, holy shit, this took a turn. Like that's when I was like, okay, I'm on board. I want to watch more of this. It was like Hunger Games all of a sudden. I was like, shit.
No, and that's the thing too with the overacting. Like I know this because Megan has watched a lot of Korean dramas, so that's kind of how the acting is in those. Is everything's like a little bit like punched up, kind of like over the top, and like a little overacted, and like certain actions are very like over dramatic and stuff like that, and that's just kind of how it is.
But not all the characters in Squid Game were. Some of them I felt like were more realistic. So then the other ones that are like over exaggerated or overacted stood out even more. And I'm like, oh my god.
You're like, you know, this girl over here is very reserved, and then you have this chick who's like, I'm gonna piss on the floor.
That's exactly what I was thinking of. Yeah, I'm thinking of like the two different women that like the two kind of like
main protagonist, like women.
main female characters in the thing. Like they're like polar opposites. Yeah.
But yeah, so before we go any further, I just want to announce that, you know, we're going to discuss spoilers for Squid Games because I actually want to talk about like the ending and the entire thing. So if you have not seen Squid Games, do not want it ruined, pause the podcast, watch 12 hours of Squid Games, and then come back here and press play again.
Yeah, if you're the one person that has not listened to any of these podcast episodes before, everything is going to be spoiled about everything we talk about.
Well, yeah, because I actually want to talk about it. Yeah. And it's like, I want to hear the scoop. Like, but yes, it is very much like Squid Game's very similar to like Battle Royale, and like even the guy who wrote Squid Games, you know, said that it came from a point in his life where he didn't have any money and stuff, and he read Battle Royale, and then even referenced other mangas like Liar Game, which is a very good manga, and Kaiji, Gambler's Paradise, which is a very good anime and manga too, and I immediately drew connection to it too because one of the games in Squid Game, the horse racing game with the numbers, where they're on the glass and stuff and they have to walk their way across, that exact game is in Kaiji that they play, except they're on top. They're going from one building top to the next building top, and then if you fall, you just fall to your death in the street.
So you want to hear something crazy? There's a video, you could probably find it on YouTube. Someone was showing me the other day where someone like noticed, like I guess they recognized a lot of the games in Squid Game, and they made this video where they fired up Mario Party 2 on the N64. Almost all of the games in Squid Game are in Mario Party 2. Yeah, I'm not even kidding. There's like one where you're walking across tiles, and if you walk on the wrong tile, then like something comes and like grabs you or something, like a piranha plant grabs you or something like that. And what else? They literally had red light, green light. That was in there. That's one of the games in Mario Party 2. Like most of the games in Squid Game are in there. It's kind of fun.
Like one of those things where it's like I'm also not really surprised because like if you think about it, most Mario Party games are also kind of like kids games. Like, there's the
Yeah.
tug of war, the like
Oh, yeah,
whatever.
tug of war's in
So
there. Yeah.
yeah, there's a ton of stuff where it's like I'm sure like since that's the majority of the games are based off
Yeah.
children's like not card games, but
Right.
children's games and stuff.
Well, and that was part of the brilliance of it too. Honestly, that was like kind of my favorite thing about the show was they took these benign little innocent games and they found a way to turn them into like a life or death situation. And I was like, holy shit, like how are they going to do this for each game, So that was always like the most interesting thing to me is to see what the game is and how they're going to make it like high stakes like that.
Yeah, I'd say one of the only real things that kind of like I guess disappointed me a little bit like about it was the fucking Americans, like the elite dudes. Like I thought
Mm,
they were going to be kind of more badass or like there was going to be more something involved with them,
right.
but they didn't really do anything or like really add anything to like any of the scenes. So
Yeah.
the elites or the VIPs or whatever, and I was like,
Yeah.
man, I kind of thought maybe they'd be like a little cooler, at least have something to do with something, really.
Yeah, they were kind of just like exactly what I expected them to be once they introduced them. And once I realized what was going on, I was like, oh, okay, so it's a bunch of wealthy assholes from, and I don't think they were all Americans. They were like from different countries because they had different accents, some
Yeah,
of
yeah,
them.
yeah.
But yeah, so it's like, oh, okay, so just a bunch of wealthy assholes like bought this island and are making people, play this game for their entertainment, and get killed off. I'm like, oh, okay, so that's pretty much what I kind of expected because clearly someone with a lot of money was behind this. But yeah, there weren't really any surprises with that. Um,
So let me ask you: at any point while you were watching it before they actually revealed it, did you suspect something of the old man?
in the first episode, when they first got in there and they're all like looking at their numbers, and one guy's like, oh, like 496 or whatever his number is, and he looks at the old man and he's like, oh, you're number one. And he's like, yes, and he's sitting there doing the counting thing. I was like, my first instinct, my first like impression was, oh, this is something that they've been kidnapping people and putting them in this place, and maybe it's been going on for a long time. And this guy's number one because he's like the oldest one there, because he was so old, like so much more like noticeably old than anybody else there. I'm thinking like, oh, this is like a guy that's been like in this thing, he's been trapped here doing these games for like years or something. And so that's why he has the lowest number, because he's like the first, and then they keep adding more people after that and they get the higher numbers. And like he's counting like he's losing his memory, because he even says like, my doctor tells me to do this, it'll like help with dementia or whatever. And so I'm like, oh, okay, so he's been doing this for so long and he doesn't even remember like how he got here, and he's like somehow been beating all these games, but he doesn't even remember like how this works, and he's just like, has like super short-term memory or something. That was my first thought, and obviously that wasn't exactly what happened. um but so like I was a little bit suspicious at first that like there was more to him
Mhm.
than him just being a contestant. But then as the show goes on, it like didn't seem like that was the case. I'm like, oh, okay, so he's just the same as all the other ones. He's like, he joins their group and he doesn't seem to be bringing anything special to it, like he has any prior knowledge or anything like that. So after a while, I just kind of forgot about that idea and just wrote him off as being nobody special. Honestly, I didn't really like the twist at the end. I don't know if we're talking about that yet, or if you wanted to go more in chronological order, but I was
I
like, by the last episode, I was kind of like, this is weird.
I mean, we can jump around. Like I don't care. My thing is just real quick. I wanted to say so. I completely 100% agree with you. I had the same exact thought when it started and he was number one. My theory was that he was a previous winner
Yeah,
and
yeah,
that he just liked doing because in the first game when he played Red Light Green, he was like smiling and shit, like he was having
yeah,
fun.
yeah.
So that's what made me think the reason he was number one is because he just volunteers to like do this because he likes playing the games.
Okay.
Um, and that he like was a previous winner or just whatever. But the
Yeah,
real
that makes
thing that
sense.
made me like immediately go, he's involved in this some way was when during the the one time when all the lights went out and they caused the riot and shit and started like killing
And
each
he's up
other
on
and stuff.
top of the beds.
He jumped up on the beds and then did his like speech thing yelling about it. and then the main game dude was watching, and they zoomed in on him, and then immediately he was like, all right, kill the game, like stop.
Oh.
And so immediately I was like, he obviously knows him. So I'm like, they know
Ah.
each other in some way. And I was like, I don't know how he's involved, but they obviously know each other, and that's why he's stopping this.
Okay. Yeah,
But
in hindsight, that seems like a pretty obvious hint, but yeah, I didn't really pick up on that at the time.
yeah, and then I was like, I didn't know how he was connected. I'm like, because but then I watched like videos like later of people who dissected stuff, and they showed that like in tug of war, he didn't have his wrist wasn't locked to the rope. Like he was wearing
Huh.
the cuffs like them, but it didn't have a lock on it.
Oh
And
shit,
then
really?
yeah, and they like
Oh, no
they
way.
they went through all these different scenes and dissected it. And like anytime, like when they left the game and came back the second time, it shows everybody getting gassed, but it never showed him get gassed. It just showed the van pick him up and drive off, but it never showed him actually get gassed in the van.
Oh,
And
wow.
just different shit like that, like little hidden like gems like throughout and
Huh.
stuff like that pointed to him. And I'm like, damn, dude, that's
That's
pretty intense.
cool. That's cool. You know what else was kind of disappointing to me? I think you were the one that was saying in our group chat that you really liked like the undercover cop story thing.
Yeah.
I was really into that for a while, but by the end I felt like it went nowhere. Like he's trying to like uncover what's going on in this place, and then he kind of does start like learning what they're up to, and then he finds those guys that are like trying to make money on the side by like smuggling shit and whatever. um and then like he ends up confronting his brother, who's the one that's running the whole thing, and then he just shoots him and kills him, and I was like, well, so what was the point of all that? Like, we still didn't learn anything about his backstory or his brother's backstory. Like, we knew that he was looking for his brother, who like disappeared because he was involved in this whole thing. Well, he finally finds him, and then he had some line like, you know why, or something like that, and then he shoots him, and I'm like, well, so are we supposed to have learned anything from that entire thing? I was kind of like really let down by that.
Yeah, because my whole thing is like, the cop's not dead. Like, he can't be dead. Like,
Hmm.
it's just because anytime they show, like, it's just like with the old man. Like, when they shot
Right. Yeah,
him,
they didn't
you didn't
actually
see it.
show him get shot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
They just
Yeah.
showed him, like, get hit in the chest and then he fell backward. But it's like anytime someone actually dies of importance in Squid Game, you see it actually happen. So
Yeah.
it's like with him, it's like, he's like going to wash ashore somewhere or something. And then, because that's my
Okay.
theory, is that him and the main guy are going to team up together to take down the
Uh
next one or whatever, the next Squid Game.
yeah. I mean, obviously they set this up for a sequel season or something. Yeah. Would be
But
interesting.
I was just going to say, but yeah, I totally agree though that, the cop story is what kept me like drawn in a lot of the time,
Yeah.
with just all the different, getting to see kind of behind the scenes and
Yes.
whatever. And then, yeah, it did feel very like abrasive how it just like standoff on the island and then
Yeah.
reveal and then just like, well, we're not going to really give you any answers, and then just shoots him in the chest and then it's done. And I'm
Right.
like, but you gave us all this information to make us all these questions, like the fact that
Yeah.
I'm like, why? How is his brother the head? Like, his brother was also a previous winner. You found out in one of the other Squid Games, like 5 years ago or whatever. So it's like, okay, well, I want to know what's up with that then. Like, why is he doing this if he won? And
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
so,
And I mean, by the end, the main guy, I can't remember his name, but the main dude that wins it in this one, we see at the end, like a year later, he's like finally decides, you know what, I need to go back, sort of a thing, and like calls the number again. I'm like, okay, well, so maybe that happened with the dude that was like running it in this season. Maybe he like won it in a previous season, and then he decided that he couldn't just go on with his normal life, and he had to go back and be involved again. And maybe he somehow like worked his way up the ranks or something, or somehow got into that position, and maybe his like goal is to like tear the thing apart too. Who knows? Like, maybe he's working at it from a certain angle that he thinks is gonna be able to like destroy this system, to unravel this thing. I have no
like,
idea.
he's
I
gone like
couldn't tell what his motives are.
full undercover.
Right, exactly. like become part of the beast in order to take it down. But I'm not sure. I can't tell what his motives are. I thought it was funny too how he like takes off his mask at the end when he like comes face to face with the cop dude with his brother, and there's like all the other guys, all the whatever you want to call them, the like
little
grunts
soldier
and stuff,
people.
the
Yeah.
soldiers. They're all standing there and everything. He takes off his mask, but like earlier in the thing, they say if anyone ever sees your face, you're dead. You know, and so he takes off his mask and all these other guys are there. They could see his face. And it's like, well, shouldn't that be a problem? But I mean, he was in charge, I guess. So whatever. He's
Yeah,
allowed
because
to
I
do
feel
what he wants.
like they kind of established that with like the old man too. That like
Yeah.
obviously they know that he's like the head person and stuff, so they like
Right.
pretended that like he was in the games, but it's like they know who he is in the games, like playing.
Right. Right. Yeah. But yeah, I didn't like the twist with him at the end. It seemed weird. I couldn't even pinpoint exactly why I didn't like it, but I don't know. I just didn't. I wasn't completely buying his whole motives. It's like, okay, yeah, I get like you got all the money in the world and like your life is boring, so you're looking for some excitement, I guess. But um, I don't know. Half the time throughout those games, it certainly didn't feel like he had any like chance of winning without help from somebody else. So I'm like, damn, that's quite a gamble.
Right.
Yeah,
Oh, and then like
interesting.
um of course what I found to also be the most heartbreaking scene was the fucking marble scene
Yeah, that
with the
whole
two dudes.
episode.
Like you knew that
Oh
dude
my
was a piece of
god,
shit, and
man.
I'm like, dude, like as soon as he's like, wait, hear me out, I'm like, dude, no, he's gonna sway this dude into whatever
Of
bullshit he's about
course.
to spit out, and then he's gonna stab him
Yeah.
in the back, and it happened.
Yeah. That part was upsetting watching that whole thing go down with the two guys because like those guys they really seem to kind of like grow somewhat closer throughout the whole thing throughout the previous episodes. And so like when you're like realizing you're like dude that like seriously like some of these guys are going to be like gone by the end of this episode. Like this is the episode where they start culling the herd of like main characters and like several of them, and you're like, holy shit, this is not good. This is going to be too much. But that was upsetting. And then the girls too, the two girls, because
Yeah,
like and like it was a totally different situation with them because they're like, okay, you know what, let's just sit here, let's just talk, it's like let's enjoy our last moments. We know one of us is going to die. And then, okay, I guess, are we ready? Let's play this game. And then the one just kind of lets it go. She's like, no, you go on. I was like, dude, no.
yeah.
I was
And
so
what's
fucking
sad is
sad.
like I immediately knew that that's what was gonna happen too, because when the thing where she was like, I'm gonna guarantee you're gonna win no matter what. So when it came to that, and I was
Yeah.
like, dude, she's gonna throw the game because she guaranteed her that she would
Yeah.
win.
Dude, you know what else upset me? In like it was like the second to last episode, or maybe the last episode, when it was down to just the last three, and the one woman was there, and she was like injured and stuff. She was like
Yeah,
she had that like cut from the glass, and like the lights go out briefly, and they come on, and the dude turns around, and that other guy was just standing there with like the knife. I was like, "Oh, you fucking asshole!"
I know she was
So
gonna
pissed
die
off.
anyway, and he just like
He
slit
probably
her fucking
was.
throat.
Yeah, but I was like, dude, what the fuck? Like she didn't deserve to go out like that. I was so upset. Yeah.
Yeah, that
But
was
that's
pretty
some shit
wild
to
because
pull.
like up until that point, him like sabotaging the one dude, like that was everything he's done has been very reserved. And then
Yeah.
like all of a sudden he was like, all right, now I'm just gonna stab, like kill this
Yeah.
person. I was like,
All
that
of a
was a
sudden the lights go
huge.
out for a second and you just fly across the room and
Well,
murder her.
like that's my thing is like I get being a scummy fuckbag like through the thing, and
Right.
it's escalated potentially every episode. Him just trying to get through the
Yeah.
fucking games, but then I'm like just resorting to like, oh, now I'm to the point of I'm just gonna murder people in their
Right.
sleep.
Because he
I'm like,
hadn't got his hands dirty
yeah,
directly at
exactly. Like he
all.
had never been like violent. So the fact that he like escalated
Yeah.
that quickly, I was like, God damn, dude.
I know. I mean, part of it's shock value, right? But
Yeah.
yeah. I was certainly surprised by that. Jesus Christ, dude, how much are you gonna eat?
Uh,
like, like you're doing it. I was gonna say you're doing a good job, like not letting like the recording hear you eating, but holy crap, like
I know.
I'm
Well,
just like we're like on video while we're recording here, just for the audience, and like Justin is just like shoving food in his mouth
well,
like
okay.
this
It's
whole
because
time.
we went to. All right, so but let's backtrack a little bit here.
Okay.
Or Squid Games was so yeah. So we went to today. We went to it's called Epic Wings.
Mm-hmm.
I've had it. It's out like there's one in California and then there's one here, but it's nowhere near like where we live. It's like near like 79th Avenue and like Camelback or whatever. So it's like fucking far away, but they have amazing breadsticks and like the wings and stuff are really good. Like, and they'll do buffalo like chicken tenders and stuff, which is what I get. And
Mm-hmm.
so it was like a 30-minute drive there. And then we came back and then it was like right before like we are supposed to be recording. So I was like, shit, okay. So I was getting everything set up. So then I never got to actually eat, even though we got it at like 11:30. So I was trying to quietly like stuff my face because I was starving.
Oh my god, dude!
And
I
then
think
now here
you're
we
like
are.
you're always eating. You're always eating when you record.
I know.
Oh, it is impressive though that I can't hear you chewing on anything. But
Well, thank you. But now the illusion's up.
the
Everybody
illusion, the
knows.
jig is up. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been Brandon sullied my good name through the streets now for um
Sorry, I don't want to ruin the professional demeanor of
yeah,
the
exactly.
podcast.
Yeah, thanks Brandon. Now I'm not going to get a potty.
Why were you going to try to do that while you're recording too?
Don't tempt me.
You're like all of a sudden I see you like grab a bedpan from the closet next to you. You're all just like, keep going, keep talking.
There's just like a empty like venti Starbucks cup and I'm just like,
Oh man. Jeez. Oh, dude. Speaking of Starbucks, like I said, I was flying the last week for work. My flight out of here. I was leaving on like Tuesday. It was like Tuesday morning at like 8:50 a.m. I'm like, oh, it's not going to be that busy at the airport, right? It's like it's not the beginning of the week, like people going out of town, like traveling for work on a Monday or something, and it's not a Friday where everyone's trying to get home before the weekend, and it's not a holiday. So I'm thinking it's going to be pretty smooth like process getting onto the plane, and maybe the plane won't even be full. Like, dude, that was not the case. Like every plane I was on was jam packed. Like I think they were sold out every single seat. And before I got on the first flight out of Phoenix, I'm like sitting there near the terminal. Like I got something to eat for breakfast. And so I'm like eating my food near the terminal and I'm watching the time and I'm like, okay, there's the Starbucks that's over here, like at the terminal that like it's like right between a bunch of different terminals. So it's like the last stop to get your Starbucks if you're going on like a bunch of different planes. And so I'm waiting, and I've done this before where I fly out of the same area, same part of the airport, and so I'm like, okay, I'm going to hit the Starbucks before I get on the plane, so then I've got a nice big drink for the whole flight. Give me something to get my caffeine and everything. And so I'm waiting because I don't want to get it too early, and then it goes all cold before I get on the plane. So I'm like waiting as long as I can, but at the same time, I don't want to like push it too close. So I'm like, I give myself like an hour, right, before I got to get in line for the Starbucks. And I walk over there and the line is so fucking long. I've never seen it this long. It wraps it around inside the Starbucks. They've got like the little like barriers and stuff. So you can wrap back and forth inside the place. And then it goes out of that and wraps around a couple times, like going all the way near like the little like conveyor belt, like escalator track things. I'm like, Jesus Christ, dude, how long is this going to take? So I get in the line just in case. And I'm like, man, I hope I can get my drink. And I like barely got it. I barely got it in time to get to my gate. It was like over 45 minutes in line for a Starbucks. It's crazy.
Jesus.
Yeah, I'm not kidding. It was at least 45 minutes. It was nuts. They're fast. They get through each person pretty quick. I have to say, like, it's impressive
I
how
almost
many
feel like
people they squeezed in 45 minutes.
I almost feel like at that point, like I'd fucking just walk up to the person front in line and be like, "Oh, honey, can you also get me a venti, whatever?" And then hand them like a 20 and just be like, "Dude, just fucking get it, please."
Oh my god,
Please just
that's
order for me.
advanced level tactics right there.
Yeah,
Well, I was
next
actually
time.
talking to I was actually talking to a lady. She was waiting right behind me in line, and she was a flight attendant. I think for Southwest. I was flying on Southwest. I think she worked for them too. But she was a flight attendant, and she was just starting her day, and so she was getting her coffee, and then she was going to have to hop on a flight and do her thing. And and we're just like chit chatting the whole time and everything. And I keep commenting on like, man, it's taken this long to get through this many people. I start like doing the math. I'm like, okay, that lady, I saw when she ordered and I looked at the time it was. And then I saw when she got her drink, it's been 8 minutes. They got through 5 people in those 8 minutes. So I'm counting how many people are in the line. I'm like trying to do the math to make sure that I'm not wasting my time. And I keep telling her, I'm like, oh man, it's going to be really close. It's going to be really close. I don't know if I can do it. And she starts asking me, she's like, well, what gate are you going to? I'm like, oh, it's this one right around the corner. She's like, okay, what's your name? I'm like, it's Brandon. And she's like, okay, well, I'll tell you what, if you order your drink and you have to run before your drink is out, she's like, I'll bring your drink to you. Like, I'll bring it to the plane. I'll make sure you get it. I was like, dude, thanks. But fortunately, it didn't have to make her do that. But
you start running and she's like, Brandon, and then you turn around and she just like
Just
fucking 30-yard throw with has a straw in it and everything's boo 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 boo. And then you like catch it and then the lid flies off and like scalds the woman like behind you.
Right. I'm like, can you go get me another one?
Yeah. And then you keep running and you like dump it on yourself as you're like running to the gate
Right.
and you're like,
oh, so hot.
And then they're like, sorry, I need your passport. And then you like slide under them like Macaulay Culkin style and get on the plane.
Oh, yeah. No, I can't do that again. They'll kick me out of the airport.
Yeah.
I get in trouble when I do that.
Yeah. Brandon already did it twice and they were like third time and you're on the no-fly list.
Right.
Yeah, dude, I do not enjoy flying. Like, I mean, like, I'm fine, like, on the plane. Because what it is Megan does not like flying. Megan actively hates flying to to the level of, like...
And it ruins your experience.
Yeah, to the level of, like, crying in the airport, like, trying to see if we could rent a car to just drive home from Washington, like, level up. And I'm like, dude, no, like, it is, like, a 2.5-hour flight. Like, you are
versus
gonna be
like
fine.
18 hours in the car.
Yeah, like, but it is like that level.
Jeez.
So,
well, I don't know when the last time was that you flew, but it had been a little while for me. I hadn't flown since COVID stuff started.
I was gonna say, yeah, like, I think when we went to Indiecade was the last time I flew.
Yeah, and that was before all of that shit went down. So now flying anywhere, you got to wear a mask the entire time you're in the airport and the entire time you're on the plane. It's like the only time, it's kind of like going to like a restaurant that makes you wear your mask, where the only time you don't have to is if you're actively eating or drinking something, sitting down at your table, kind of a thing. So it's the same now with the airport. Like if you're not actively eating or drinking something, you have to wear your mask the entire time you're in the airport, the entire time you're on the plane. And when you're like flying like all day, like multiple airports, multiple planes, it's like that's a long time to wear a mask. And like it doesn't even bother me that much to wear the mask, but it's like it's just how like warm my face gets after a while. I'm like sweating under the mask. I keep like pulling it away from my face just to kind of like fan my like face a little bit to like cool it down, because after a while it just like I'm just getting sweaty and uncomfortable after that thing, under that thing.
Brand's just like sitting there like yelling at the like 13-year-old kid next to him, and he's like, hey, fucking Biden's America over here, gotta wear damn mask. And he's like looking like 3 rows back at his mom, like it's like, please save me.
No, like I get it. I get the reason for the extra precautions, but at the same time I'm just like, oh man, like that's just the last place I want to have to be wearing a mask, is somewhere where I'm going to be trapped in this tight little space for a long time. But whatever. I got through it. I survived.
I know. We actually went to California a few weeks ago, and we did Universal Studios. We went for the horror nights and stuff, and then we went to Disneyland and stuff, and it was all decorated out for Halloween and stuff. Yeah. So we went for a few days. And it was a lot of fun. And what was crazy is when we were at Universal Studios, Jabberwockies were there. Oh, the dance group from America's Best Dance Crew and stuff. And they have like the residency in Vegas and stuff where they do shows and stuff like that. But so they were there. And so we actually got to like sit down for like it was like a probably 45-minute, like almost hour, like performance or whatever by them, which was pretty dope.
Nice.
But, you know, also because Megan hates anything horror, we just parked her ass at the Starbucks at Universal Studios. And then me and our tattoo artist, Stephanie, we went and hit all the haunted houses because Megan went with us through the Texas Chainsaw Massacre one. And after that, she was like, nope. She's like, I'm done. like park my ass somewhere. You guys go have fun. Come grab me like when it's time to leave.
Yeah.
Like
I don't love horror either. Like I can watch some horror movies, but like it's really not my thing. Like the older I get, like the less I enjoy the feeling of being scared. So I tend to just like not actively like seek out that stuff. We actually did Ronnie and I did the 13th floor haunted house thing that's here in
mhm.
Glendale. We did that for the first
I've
time.
never done it, but I mean, I
No.
know people have gone, or but I've heard it's a decent haunted house, but I've
Yeah,
never been.
it was all right. Yeah, that was the first time we'd ever done it. I thought it was okay. Like there's certainly some parts where it's kind of spooky, and you know, just like with any haunted house, the stuff that'll really get you is like the live people that are in there that are like directly interacting with you, like talking to you, shouting at you, and like sneaking up behind you and stuff like that, because like it's real people. You have no idea what they're gonna do. It's like they're totally unpredictable. So that's like a little unsettling. But at the same time, I feel like with this one, they're probably like contractually not allowed to actually touch you or to do certain things. Like, so once we got about halfway through, I'm like, okay, like I really don't have anything to worry about from these people, because all they're doing is just like jumping up and like spooking you from behind and like shouting at you and like yelling different things and just trying to act crazy. And I'm like, okay, that's nice. And I just like wave at them and keep walking, because they're never going to touch me. They're not going to grab me or anything like that. So it kind of like, once you realize that, it kind of takes some of the scare out of it. The scariest thing about it was like, Ronnie's not super into horror stuff either. Like maybe even less so than me. I'm not sure. But like, she was the one that like told me, "Hey, we're doing this haunted house because like some friends invited us," and she's like, "Yeah, sure, we'll do it." And I'm like, "I don't want to do that. Why do we have to do this?" So she's like basically dragging me there, and then once we get there, she's like, "Oh, this is a bad idea. Oh, why are we doing this, Brandon? Why are we doing this? Why did you let me do this?" And I'm like, "Dude, this was your thing.
You're
Like,
like, I didn't even want to
why am
come
I
in the
doing
first
this?"
place.
So she ends up hiding behind me the whole time, like literally like grabbing on, she's like holding on my shirt, like she's grabbing around like my chest, like you can see in the camera, and people can't see if they're listening to this, but she's like squeezing my shirt like this from behind and grabbing on the shoulder, and she's just like just clawing at me from behind the whole time and trying to hide. And like, so the scariest thing is when something happens that spooks her, she like yanks on
Yep.
me, and I'm like, Jesus Christ.
That's how it was through when we went through the Texas Chainsaw one. Was Megan was behind me, death gripping my like the back of my
Yeah.
shirt, and so
Yeah.
anytime something scary happened, it wasn't what was even happening. It was her like
Yeah.
fucking pulling my shirt down, choking the shit out of me as I'm like folding backwards, like trying to breathe.
Exactly. Yeah.
Um, but no, it was super cool. Like because they had Texas Chainsaw, they had Halloween 4, Return of Michael Myers, so it was cool getting to go through like the like Myers house and stuff. And then they had some like that Haunting on Hill House one from like Netflix, which I've never watched the show. So like when we went through
Mm.
it, I'm like sitting there looking around because there's like some like weird dude on stilts and shit. And
Hmm.
Stephanie's seen it, and I was like, "Dude, is this guy even in the show?" And she's like, "No." She's like, "I don't know." I
Huh.
was like, "Okay." I was like, "I wanted to make sure," because I was like, "Dude, there's like some weird like circus fucking dude." I'm like, dude, I don't think this is a part of the show, but I could be 100% wrong since I've never watched it.
That's funny.
Because yeah, that's why that one was one of my least favorite ones, because it's like at least the Texas Chainsaw and the Michael Myers ones and stuff. I was like, it had characters from there was an Exorcist one too, and it's like at least it has
Yeah.
like scenes from the movies and like characters from the movies in it and whatever. I
Yeah.
was like, where this, I was like, I obviously like 80% of what's in this haunted house has nothing to actually do with this Netflix show, and it's just there to try and scare you.
Yeah. Nice. Man, it's been a while since we've been out to Disney and Universal. We've done that a couple times. I love those places, especially Disneyland. I love Disneyland. I've never been to Disney World. In a few years, Ronnie and I are planning to do like a big trip and take the kids with us and everything, and do like the whole Florida thing and hit Disneyland and or Disney World, I mean, and possibly Universal out there because they got the whole Islands of Adventure thing. There's just like it's like theme park fucking world out there. It's just expensive as hell, but
Yeah,
trying
I've
to
never
plan
been
for it.
to Disney World either and stuff, but I've watched a bunch of the documentaries and stuff on Disney Plus, and I like the ones that they have about the basically like the animal sanctuary that they have there, like their animal
Mm.
kingdom. and
Mm.
stuff, and they have a show on Disney Plus that's like kind of behind the scenes of like the animals there and like what the people there actually do and stuff. And dude, it's fucking crazy like what they do. Like they like help like rebreed and stuff like endangered species and stuff.
Oh
And
shit.
like
I
they
didn't
have
know
like
that.
a whole fucking medical wing for animals and stuff there. And
Oh
like they
wow.
actually show like I mean they check up on the animals. They like help them like to like reproduce. They're injured and stuff. They like
Hmm.
rehabilitate them there and stuff and they go through like little programs with them. Like it's insanely detailed and like they have like a whole area too where you can actually see like the operating room and stuff like when they're like
Oh wow.
doing checkups or having to do like surgery on one of them or something where people can actually watch what they're doing. Like it's incredibly cool.
Oh cool. Yeah, no, I never heard about that. That's awesome. You've been to so you went to Disneyland what within the last year, you said?
Yeah, we
Year or
actually
so?
went I think we've gone twice this year.
Okay, yeah. So
Cuz
you got to see the Star Wars thing then, right? Because I haven't even been there since they opened that.
yes. So
Yeah.
last time the first so we went more towards kind of like the beginning of this year and we did Disneyland and Universal and that was the first time I had been back to Disneyland since like 2001.
Wow.
When that was when like the week California Adventure opened was when I
Oh,
went.
okay.
So it was very different. So it was my first time getting to see like all the Avengers stuff and the Star Wars land
Yeah.
and like
Yeah.
just all the different changes they've made to different things like over the years. And then the second time we got to ride like a lot of the stuff that we didn't get to ride the first time. Like we did a lot of walking around and stuff, but Megan's foot was injured, so it was hard for her to get around and stuff because she like fucked her toe up. Um,
Mhm.
but this last time, like we got to do like we were piloting like the Millennium Falcon ride and
Yeah.
the Smuggler's Run and stuff, and
Yeah.
then we did the Rise of the Resistance last time, but this time, since it was my second time riding it, I actually filmed during the entire ride for my video, which I didn't get to do the
Mm.
first time because I wanted to just experience it the first time and stuff
Yeah.
without like.
Yeah.
But then now that I knew what was coming and stuff, I'm like, okay, this is cool. So I got some like
Nice.
really good footage of that for my
Nice.
my big trip video that I
Yeah.
released. So
Did you build a lightsaber?
no, I know like the first time when we went, they weren't doing that
Oh,
because of
really?
COVID reasons and stuff. They couldn't have
Ah.
people. I think they
Oh,
had
damn.
them. I saw a lot of people walking around with like the cases and stuff for them this
Mhm.
time, so I think they were open again.
Okay.
But I was like, I didn't want to because it's like I want to say it's like $300 or something like to build a
Holy
lightsaber.
shit,
Yeah, to do
seriously?
like
Oh my
to do
god.
the well, so there's you can build a lightsaber in the gift
Mm.
shop and stuff. Like they have like almost like the toy like customization, but it's all
Yeah.
plastic, like the heel, but
Yeah,
it lights
exactly.
up
But you
and
get
you
to
can
pick
do.
all the pieces and put it together, yeah.
But then they have like an actual lightsaber building ceremony that you can
Oh,
participate in,
okay.
and with
Okay.
that you have like all the metal fucking pieces, and there's
Oh,
like the
shit, really?
stone, and you like
Oh,
assemble the
dude.
entire handle, and it's like heavy and it's like legit. And
Oh,
then they
okay.
do an entire ceremony with all the because you can only do so many people in a time because they do a whole
Uh-huh.
ceremony where they like knight you basically into like the Jedi and shit
Oh,
and
damn.
present
That's
you your
awesome.
lightsaber that you built and whatever. So
I
you're
didn't know
paying.
that because I have a friend that went and he built the lightsaber and I saw his and it is just the plastic stuff and he's like, yeah, it was pretty cool, but it's like you can buy better ones like at other places, but it's just cool to be able to like pick the pieces and put together. But then even when he did it, he's like a lot of the stuff that they had there, a lot of the different pieces, the different options were like out of stock. So he's just like he like put something together from just what was left over. I'm like, oh, that kind of sucks too. But
Yeah,
yeah, I didn't know they
when
had another option.
yeah, because that's like the more legit like thing. And it's like they only do so many a day, so you have to try and like get if you want
Dude.
to do it, you have to try and get
Like,
into that
book it, like,
group.
months in advance or
Or
something?
just like I think it's almost like the morning of like whenever it
Yeah.
like goes live, and then you get basically
Oh.
into like a queue, and then like you get
Oh,
to
okay.
pick like whatever, and it's just whatever fucking fills up, and then once it's gone, it's out
Yeah.
or whatever for like the
Dude, I
day.
totally wanna do that. I think I kinda like, I wanna see what they look like and make sure it looks like it's worth the money, but, like, seriously, like, just the experience of, like, going through, like, an official, like, ceremony and feeling like you're becoming a Jedi or something, like, I would totally do that.
Because that's the
That's
thing
sick.
with the rise of because you haven't ridden the Rise of the Resistance ride, then, right?
I don't think so. Was it in the same Star Wars land or is
Yeah,
it
it's in.
separate? Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
it's
because the whole land was not. It was still being built the last time I was
okay.
there.
Because yeah, like that. So for that ride, you have to. Um, there isn't just you can't just go get in line for it. What you have to do is like at noon on the
You have to
Disney
blow
app.
Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah, noon. You have to meet him behind like the old tilt-a-whirl and just bob that knob. Um, no, but
Oh, Misa so excited.
he's like,
Misa almost there.
you's a good boy. Um,
You're a big boomer.
um, no, but at noon on the Disney app, it goes live for the Rise of the Resistance thing, and you have to like immediately like click it to join the queue, and then you get like your place in like line for the ride and stuff, and like what boarding group you're gonna be and whatever. And it's one of those where it's like everyone can do it, but realistically they can only do so many within like a day. So it's like
Yeah.
if you're late to like the punch, it's like your time, like there's no way you're ever gonna get to like ride it that day. So we were lucky
Wow.
both times to like be able to actually like get in like a decent boarding time and stuff to ride the ride.
Yeah. Nice.
And it was fun though too, because the second time, it was Stephanie's first time doing it. So it was funny because me and Megan had already done it before. So this was her first time getting to do this ride. So it's like we knew like what was coming and stuff. So it was funny getting to see her reaction with it being
Yeah.
the first time and being like all surprised and stuff with like what's happening. But we already knew it was going to come up.
That's cool. Nice.
Um,
Yeah, I want to get there and do that. I don't know when.
I
They
know.
have the same thing at Disney World, though, don't they? They didn't just do it
E-
at Disneyland, did they?
no, I believe they also have a Star
Typically,
Wars land.
typically Disney World gets everything, and then Disneyland gets some of it, right? Because there's like only so much room.
Yeah, or it's like they get it, but like later on.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Or it's
like I
just
know,
smaller.
like I want to go, like we still want to go to Japan so bad, and they have like the
Mm.
Super Nintendo World there that
Yeah,
they
that looks
built it at
cool.
Universal and stuff out there, and I'm like, dude, I want to go to it
Yeah.
so bad, and it was pretty cool though when we went to Universal Studios here. They didn't. They obviously don't have it. Like they're planning on getting it in like the next few years or whatever, but they haven't started building it yet. But they had
Yeah.
a little pop up stand in their gift shop that wasn't there the first time that we went, and it had Super Nintendo World merch. So
Nice.
I got a like legit like Mario Kart shirt and then like a kind of matching like hat and stuff, and they both have like the Super Nintendo World like logo and stuff on it.
Oh, that's cool.
So I was like, well, this will do for right now, I guess. Like until I get to actually go.
Yeah, that'll be cool. I don't think it's at Disney, or I'm sorry, not Disney. I don't think it's at the Super Nintendo World that's in Japan, but I saw a thing. I saw like a video a little while ago that there's some place where you can do this go kart thing. It's like at an indoor track, and it's basically like playing Mario Kart, where they've got like this AR stuff, like augmented reality stuff, like mixed in. So you're like driving your cart and you like drive over certain squares, kind of like in the games, and it like gives you different power ups, or it gives you like weapons that you can use against other drivers. I'm not sure exactly how it works, but I just saw like this one little video from someone's
Um
cart
I know that
real life.
that is one of the rides at Super
Oh, is it?
Nintendo. Well, there is a Mario Kart ride at Super
Yeah.
Nintendo World that you have the AR glasses and you're like
Oh,
driving a
okay.
cart. Like, so I don't know if that's. I know there's been other stuff with like
Maybe it
legit
is.
carts and stuff in Japan, and like you could dress up
Yeah.
as a Mario character, and they kind of got shut down or whatever because Nintendo did like a cease and desist on them.
Oh, seriously?
Well, because
Oh
they like
man.
were dressed up like Nintendo characters in like real life kind of Mario Karts that you could like buy, and they were
Mhm.
like whipping around like Tokyo and stuff. And
Oh,
then
they're like driving on streets and stuff,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
Nintendo realized that they're using their characters like properties and stuff. And I don't remember what their
Ah.
company was called, but it was like a play on kind of like Mario Kart and
Yeah,
stuff. So
yeah.
they immediately hit them with like, no, you're not doing this anymore.
Ah, boo.
And then
Yeah.
years later, they built an actual Mario Kart thing at Super Nintendo. That's why they're like, oh, there's money to be made here. They're like, cease and desist. We'll do this ourselves.
Yeah. So speaking of cease and desist, that's a good segue into Final Fantasy Renaissance. No, I did not get a cease and desist. I was just gonna say, speaking of it, just reminded me of like, oh yeah, I should actually still do something with Final Fantasy Renaissance because I don't like advertise it or anything, but I did essentially get the game completed, so it's like fully playable from start to finish and everything with like all the new job classes I added.
I know.
Um,
How exciting is it to like have finally be done with like the initial,
yeah,
everything of it.
like version 1.0 basically is done. It's exciting. It's like it's awesome. Like it's a big accomplishment to be able to say like, yeah, I spent like all these years. It's like 5.5 years or something. I was working on that project, even though like it was just for fun and I knew I wasn't gonna make any money off of it. Um, but yeah, it was like a super like uh satisfying feeling to be able to say, yep, I started on this thing and had no idea how long it was going to take. And I actually like stuck with it all the way through. So that was cool. And I still have like a lot of ideas of stuff I want to add to it. But at the same time, I'm like, you know what? I spent a long time working on this project and I can't like sell it. And I really want to like, work on something for the next 5 years that I can actually like make a profit off of. Cause
Mhm.
this it was good. Like I learned a lot working on this, but I kind of want to just turn that knowledge into like something more lucrative now.
Yeah,
So
so something that I feel like what it is too is more like something that you can actually like openly show off and not be afraid of like pissing off
yeah,
like someone like sees this like something where you can't come up and be like, hey, you can't do this.
right, exactly. Like, yeah, I mean, like I would totally just like share it more on like Facebook and like advertise my website around and stuff and tell people to play the game or even like put up like a link to download it and everything. But I don't want to like get into some you know legal issue with it or anything like that. Um, I've thought about streaming myself playing the game though, just like on Twitch and stuff. And who knows if that would get shut down? It very well could. But like you see people stream like speed runs of games all the time, and they're literally
Well,
just playing the
yeah,
game.
it should be fine too because I mean people do all the time. They stream the what is it, the Kaizo Mario levels and stuff like that,
Mm,
where it's just like the Super Mario World like mod levels and stuff like that.
yeah, yeah,
So it should be fine. Like I don't think anyone's gonna like try and cease and desist you or something over
right.
that.
Yeah, so that's very likely something I'll do at some point. But at the same time, like that was another thing. After I finished that project, I was like, you know what? I want to catch up on games. I want to like just actually like play some games for a while because I've been like spending all my free time like working on this project and just like got a huge backlog of stuff to play through. So I actually started playing a little bit of the stuff on my Steam backlog not too long ago. I actually played through the remastered collection of all the Mass Effect games for the first time. By the way, I never actually played Mass Effect like when it was new, when everybody was playing it. And my brother, he played it like several times, and he kept like bugging me. He's like, "Dude, you got to play this game. You're gonna love these games." And I was like, "Yeah, I've heard good things. I just never got around to it." So he actually bought the collection for me for like a birthday present because I moved into my new place like when we downsized and like the kids were out on their own and everything. That was like May of this year, and we moved into our new place like the end of that month. And my birthday is the beginning of May, and so my brother's like, "Okay, I'm going to buy the games for you, and since you're going to have time now, you just have to promise that you're going to play them." I'm like, "Okay, I'll play them." So yeah, he got me all the Mass Effect games, and I did love them. They're fucking awesome, and it's kind of like great that I waited. I think to play the remaster version because I know that there's a lot of like little quality of life improvements and like obviously some slight graphical upgrades and things like that. So it's probably the best version to play, and it had all of like the expanded content like from add-ons and stuff like that already included. So that was pretty sweet. Um, yeah. So I played a little bit.
Yeah, I know. I've kind of been the same way. Like a lot of games have been coming out this year, and I'm just like, fuck, dude. Like I want to play them, and it's like especially for like on like the That Pixel Life podcast and stuff, where they always do like game of the year and stuff. So it's like I need to have like a game of the year list. So I'm like, here's all these
Mm,
games I want to play. So
yeah.
I've been trying to like get through certain games. Like one just came out called Inscription, which I think you would enjoy, and I know PJ would fucking love it. He would go ape
Okay.
shit for it, and I really want him to play it too. And I know it's on PC, It's on Steam. I'm sure at some point it'll come to Switch or whatever, but then, you know, everyone's gonna have Steam decks anyway, so you can just fucking play it on whatever. But it's a card game, but it's like a card game mixed with an escape room
Hmm.
almost. So the whole premise is you basically like they do weird things where it's like they have actual like real video and stuff. You're basically this dude who opens like inscription card packs, so like Magic the Gathering, like Yu-Gi-Oh, whatever, and he's like, you know, like, oh, we're gonna open today and try and pull like this card and whatever, and he pulls a card and it has like a fucking coordinates to some place. So then he goes and digs up this box and it has a floppy disk with the game Inscription on it, and then he plugs it in and plays it, and that's like the game you're playing is the game that he like put in there.
Okay.
And you're continuing from this save file, and there's this like creepy like dude, you can't see his face, all you really see are his eyes and sometimes his hands, and he's like, welcome back and whatever. And you're playing a game and you have monsters like creatures and stuff like squirrels and wolves and whatever, and it's like squirrels you have to play and then sacrifice them, and it's like one blood means one sacrifice, two bloods mean two sacrifices to get like the bigger creatures out to attack with.
Hmm.
And the way the game's won is there's a scale, and it's like almost like a like you'd see at a courthouse or whatever, like the old timey scale where it's like either side it tilts, and that's how you
Yeah.
do damage. You put an item on the side, and once the scale's all the way down, that's how you win.
Huh.
And for damage, it's gold teeth. So there's like human teeth that get put on the scale to represent damage, and then you use the gold teeth that you like win as like currency to like buy items later on in the game. And one of the items that you use while playing is a fucking like pair of like pliers, and you can pull your own tooth out and put it on the
What?
scale to do more damage to your opponent.
Oh my god.
And the cards talk to you and stuff. Like some of the cards are sentient as to what is happening, and they're like, dude, this dude's fucking crazy, like we've been trapped here and this has like happened before and you need to stop this. And they're like, there's like two other of us that know what's going on, and so you need to get all three of us together so that we can come up with a plan to get us the fuck out of here, because this guy is crazy and he's going to kill us. Like,
That's fucking weird.
and so there's like times where you're playing the game and then something will happen at any point. You can pretty much get up when you're not playing cards. You can just get up from the table and walk around the room you're in. And the room you're
Hmm.
in is this dark, creepy cabin and stuff. And you can't open the door or leave, but there's stuff for you to look at. And there's like little puzzles for you to do to like
Hmm.
either get like better cards. Some give you items to like use for later, like the pliers and stuff. So you can beat the game without ever doing any of that stuff, but it's like doing that stuff like will help improve your deck by giving you new cards or give you access to like items that will help you like, you know, advance easier and stuff, because the whole point is you're like going through battling this dude, and he's also each of the bosses. Like he puts on a different mask and plays like a different role. Like there's like the like trapsman or whatever, and he puts on this like crazy like hunter guy mask, and then there's like bear traps on the field and stuff that like murder your shit. And then there's one where he puts on this like old fisherman mask thing and he becomes the angler, and like he'll turn like your cards into like fish bait and stuff for this like shark cards to like eat and
Hmm.
stuff, and it gets like crazy. But the plot just gets weirder as it goes. Like it keeps pushing the limit of like what the fuck you think you know is going on. So
Yeah.
it's really good. So
Huh.
I think you, and especially like PJ, since it's very kind of like Slay the Spire, very like deck buildy, it's that
Oh,
same kind of
sure.
like as you're
Yeah.
progressing. That's the other thing. As you're progressing, it's very much it's basically Slay the Spire where you can go different paths, and like you can upgrade cards if you go here or go to this
Mm.
camp and do whatever. So it's like you kind
Yeah.
of go here and you can get an additional card to add to your deck. And so you kind of choose what's going on. So when you die though, in the game, the dude you're playing with basically drags you into a fucking room, takes a picture of your face, and then you design a card and then name it and sign it, and that's your
Oh
death
shit.
card. So
Oh
then
shit.
later on in the game, there's chances for you to build your like deck and stuff, and there's chances you can draw a dead version of yourself to
Oh my
add to your
god.
deck to use as like a creature to play. It's so
Oh my
fucking
god.
cool.
Huh.
Like so
That's
it
neat.
does really weird, like interesting stuff like that I've never like really seen before.
Nice. Is this some indie game?
Yeah.
Who made it? Yeah.
Yeah, it's an indie game. It's made by he's made two other games. His name's like Jeff Mullins. He
Hmm.
made Pony Island and then he made the Hex. So his kind of MO is making like games that there's games within the games. Like the game I'm
Yeah,
showing
it's like
you
a
isn't
meta
the
thing.
yeah, it's like the game I'm
Yeah.
showing you isn't the game you're really playing, and it's like every time one of his games, it's like okay, this is it, and then the camera pans out, and then the camera pans out.
Right.
It's like oh, this is what's actually
Like,
happening.
oh, there's a
Like
lot more going on.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So I remember you recommending Pony Island before, and I think you and Matt both played it, right?
Yeah.
And so I downloaded it at one point and tried to play it, and I was like, I do not have the patience for this. Like it was frustrating as all hell. I was like, where is the game here? Like it's just like weird menus that like are hard to navigate and don't really make a lot of sense. It's just this like weird like experimental trial and error thing, and I was just like I gave up on it like real quick. I spent like maybe 15 minutes trying to play that game and I was like, "No, I'm out." Like I cuz I
Oh
was like
man.
stuck. I couldn't figure out what to do and I'm like, "Well, this isn't fun." So, I have no idea what that game has in store. Maybe I'll watch a video someday or
Yeah, I
something.
was like, that's a shame because like it is a really good game, and I could see that. It's one of the like his games are very kind of like that, where it's like there's a lot of hidden shit within the game to like solve
Yeah.
and do and stuff. Like there's a lot of content there if you want to dig around to try and find it.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, no, with that game, it's like interesting because if I'd like sum up the game, it's basically like what if the devil was your best friend but was also like a manipulative douche, and that's
In
like
what?
what
Pony Island?
yeah, that is Pony Island. Like
Like
that
I
is
certainly never got any of that from the very
exactly
beginning of
because
it.
yeah, you didn't get far, but that's like the
Yeah.
general premise is like who you're talking to is the devil, and
Huh.
they're trying to get you to play this game, but you're like you're basically cheating them at their own game and they don't like it, so then they're
Hmm.
trying to like set you straight, so you're like they're abusing you to try and get you to like play into their hand, but you're like going around them trying to like kill them basically.
Weird. Yeah, that's fucking crazy.
um but yes, I wasn't sure. We like jumped back. I wasn't sure if you had anything else you wanted to talk about on Squid Game. I know you said you
Oh,
didn't like
um,
the it like I liked all the characters, and I the main thing I did like about the ending or whatever is that I guess like the guy like won, like the cops came or whatever to save the homeless dude, so he like proved them wrong or whatever, that like humans weren't the biggest piece of shit like at the end.
yeah. That I mean, that was kind of neat, and I liked that after he went through all of that and he got all that money, he basically decided to give it all away. I liked that. It's like the whole experience like profoundly changed him.
Yeah.
Um, so that was cool. Um, and I guess it's like it's kind of neat that like he's like, okay, you know what, I'm gonna go back in, and as far as we can tell, it's like he's going back in because he's gonna like expose this thing or destroy it or something. I'm like, okay, that should be interesting. That'll be an interesting angle for the next one. Um, I did not like his hair change. Like he like changed
The
his hairstyle,
red.
like made it all like was it red or pink or
Yeah,
something
it's
like that?
red.
I was just like, dude, you look fucking weird. Like, why would you change your hair all of a sudden at the end? It just seems super strange, and he looked dumb. um, and then like I don't know, like I said, the whole thing with the old man, I was just like, this is weird. It just felt like a twist for the sake of throwing a twist in, like to me. Um, like you said, they're trying to like, you know, put this message in there and stuff, show that there's still good in people. So I guess that's fine. They were using that whole twist as like a vessel to tell this message, but it just felt strange when I saw him there at the end, and I was like, oh, what? I don't know. It just felt weird to me. It just felt like the kind of twist that like, you know, like it just seemed like an amateur like writing kind of twist. Like they could have done something more clever than that. It just felt, I don't know, felt cliche, I guess. Like, oh, the guy who was in it the whole time that was really part of the whole thing. Surprise. And I was just like, yeah. Like I kind of saw it coming, although at the same time, they did trick me in thinking that he was killed off. But when it, I don't know, when they did reveal that twist, I was like, oh, okay, they're doing this.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
like at the end that he also kept his promise and took the one girl's like brother
yeah,
and,
yeah, yeah.
and
That was
like
cool.
basically took him to the one dude's like mom's house. Basically, it's like, here you go, here's a suitcase full of money. Like,
Yeah,
take care
yeah,
of him.
yeah, yeah. So I guess that was kind of satisfying. Like something good came of it, right? Yeah, yeah. It
But
was pretty
yeah.
wild.
Yeah, overall, like it was one of those things like I was really worried about it because of how hyped like it was like online and
Yeah,
stuff. That's what finally got me to watch it. I'm like, dude, like everyone is talking about it. It's being referenced everywhere. And it's like, it starts out a little slow, like at the beginning and stuff.
yeah,
And that's why I was like, dude, I don't know if I'm really seeing like what all the hype is about. But then once you're about like, three,
yeah,
4 episodes in, you're like into the fold of what's happening and stuff's like starting to
yeah,
move a little bit fast. It's like, all right, like I can see like why this is. I'm like sitting there watching. I'm like one more episode, one more episode. It's like ten
yeah.
fifty six. I'm like, fuck, dude, I need to go to bed for
Yeah.
work tomorrow.
Yeah, I certainly feel like it is overhyped. Like, and that's just what happens with like a lot of new shows now. I've noticed that something comes out on Netflix and like all the newest stuff is always like number one in the US or number one in the world, like this week and everything. And it's always just the newest stuff. And I think that's just the way it goes. Like the new thing that's a little bit different is always going to be like number one. It's always going to get like all of this buzz and attention for like a hot minute, and then everyone's going to forget about it. So I think just because this was something new and something a little bit different, uh, everybody was just talking about it because everyone wanted to see what it was. But I certainly didn't think it was like as great as it might suggest, considering that everybody was talking about it. But it was definitely interesting, and by the end, I was like, yeah, I would watch another season if they make another season. I'm curious enough to see where it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Have you ever watched like the movie Battle Royale?
I never did. No, that was the one that they that was like very Hunger Games, like, right?
Yeah, well, Hunger Games is very it like because
Right, right,
it
other way around,
yeah
exactly.
because it
Yeah,
came out like very early on because it was originally a
yeah,
book and then they turned it into a manga and then they made like a movie based off of it. Uh,
yeah, yeah. I heard about it. I would definitely like to check it out because I liked Hunger Games, especially the first like one. The first one
Yeah, and
was
that's
pretty
very
good.
much kind of like the premise where it's like each year or whatever, like one senior class like randomly gets
Mm,
chosen to compete in this like game that's like televised on TV to fucking everyone and stuff. And
mm,
they get like a duffel bag that has like a random weapon in it and some supplies and stuff. And then they just like send them out like into wherever they are. And they have like 3 days for there to be down to like one surviving person, and
yeah.
if by the end of the 3 days there's more than one person, they all have collars on their necks that detonate and kill them all.
Mm.
So,
Nice.
so there's like, of course, there's the fucking crazy kid in class, and his random weapon he gets is the fucking Uzi. So he's
Oh,
just like
Jesus.
spraying fucking kids down like left and right. And then there's the other kid in their fucking class who like just transferred in before the game, and he's like a previous winner,
Oh,
so he
shit.
like knows what the fuck he's doing, and he's like trying to hunt down the fucking crazy kid. It's
Jeez.
and so it's really good. And then they made a sequel to the movie that wasn't based on anything. And that's what I'm feeling like season 2 of Squid Game's gonna be, is because season
Mhm.
1, or the second movie for Battle Royale, is the person who wins Battle Royale. They like um decide that they're going to take down the system and
Mhm.
go like against them. So then the second battle royale movie is the new game is, instead of them trying to kill each other, they're sending all these kids to go kill him because he's created this like resistance fucking army
Oh, okay.
to bring down the system and stuff. So the kids
Hmm.
though are now in pairs and they have the collars, and if their partner dies, they also die.
Oh,
So they're
shit.
having to keep each other alive while they're like trying to storm this dude's like fucking base to kill him.
Yeah, that sounds cool. Yeah, I should watch Battle Royale at some point. Do you know if it's streaming anywhere?
Oh, I know they both used to be on Netflix at one point. I don't know if
Oh,
the movies are still on there, but I know they were on there. They might be on like Hulu or something too.
yeah, yeah.
Maybe Amazon Prime. I don't know. There's so many fucking streaming services now. It could be
I
somewhere.
know.
It's somewhere
I
on like
know. I
one of
can't
the
keep up.
infinite apps.
I can't keep up with everything. I'm looking forward to. I don't think it started yet. I think it's starting soon. They've been advertising the Wheel of Time series. They're finally making
Oh
a
yeah.
show out of that. I think it's going to be on Amazon. I'm pretty sure. Um, yeah, I've always heard really good things about those books, but I never read them. And so recently, I've got Audible. I've got like an Audible subscription for audiobooks. So I actually finally got the first couple of those. I listened to the audiobook of the first two books in the Wheel of Time. I don't remember how many there are. There's like at least 6 or 7 or something like that. There's quite a few, but they're pretty good. It's kind of like I would compare it most to like Lord of the Rings and maybe like a hint of Game of Thrones. It's that like sort of high fantasy. Um, I wouldn't necessarily call it medieval, but it's like fantasy setting with like magic and uh, just like different factions kind of vying for power in the world, and like sort of like this like darkness, this like powerful like dark lord kind of a character who's sort of behind a lot of things, and there's like a lot of people that are sort of like trying to go against and prevent him from rising to power, very much like Lord of the Rings. But one thing I really like a lot about it is like when I read Lord of the Rings, I always remembered like I love Gandalf. I love like magic characters. I always love mages and wizards and stuff like that. But one thing that always disappointed me a little bit about Gandalf was he hardly ever fucking uses any magic. He like he hardly ever does anything, especially if you watch the movies. Like you rarely see anything aside from like, he makes his staff glow a little bit, or like he projects his voice like, across a great distance, or like whatever. Like he just doesn't do like a ton of like what you would expect from a wizard. He's like way more subtle, and so far in Wheel of Time, you definitely get to see more impressive like magic use. So I'm curious to see how that goes on like a big screen or whatever. So I'm looking forward to that one.
A little mini series.
Yeah, yeah. I saw Dune when a little bit before it came out. Actually, I had tickets to a friend of mine actually got a couple tickets to like an advanced screening. It was like it's like the week before, like the kind of thing where like people from the press and stuff get to go in and see it early so they can write blog
Hmm.
posts about it and stuff. So he knew a guy that was like putting the thing on, so he got some extra tickets and we saw it early, and that was pretty good. I really like. I actually read the book a long time ago, um, like years and years ago. It's probably 20 years since I read the book, and I really, really liked it. I liked it so much I actually bought all the rest of them because there's a whole series. There's like 6 books in the Dune series, um, and I liked it so much I bought all of them like right away, and then I never read through the rest of them. I just never got around to it. They've just been sitting on a shelf like for decades now. And now I got them in storage. I can't even access them easily. Um, but so this movie, um, like they've done. So first of all, they've done like 2 different versions of Dune before. There's the one in the '80s that starred Kyle MacLachlan, that was pretty good. And then there was, and that's the one that most people know if they ever saw it before. And then there was also like a made-for-TV like miniseries version. I think it was like a 2-parter or something like that they made like I want to say in the '90s or maybe early 2000s or something. Um, and that was pretty decent too. But like both of them were just kind of like not they didn't quite hit the mark. I thought like the first one in the '80s I thought really captured like the look and feel of like that world really well, but I didn't think they did the best job with some of the characters, and they kind of like took some creative liberties with some of the details in the story, and like some of like the Fremen race. I don't know if you saw the movie yet. Actually, I should ask you if you saw the movie, if I'm about to spoil anything for
I
you.
mean, you're fine to like. I haven't watched it yet. I will watch it, but it's fine if you speak spoiler stuff because I'll probably like not remember it by the time I go to actually watch the movie.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I'm pretty sure I can give you some idea without spoiling it. But that like there's this like race of desert people. They just like live in the hills and stuff like that, like in the deep like desert. And they're like total badasses. Like in the book, they're like basically like desert ninjas. They like sneak around in the desert and don't leave any tracks and everything. And they like can can get in and infiltrate like enemy compounds without being detected and just like take them out. They carry these little like bone daggers and everything. And they're just like total badasses. And in the first movie, in the original version in the 80s, they kind of like turned them into wussies because they ended up giving them this like weird technology thing where they like wore this like mask on their face and they would just like shout and it would like send this like shockwave out into the distance and blow things up. And I'm like, that's not a thing. Like
What?
that has nothing to do with it. Was so
Like
weird. Yeah.
that'd be so off-putting. Like being a fan of the book and like having an idea in your head of like this race or this character, and then that comes on
Yeah.
screen. And you're like, what? Like, am I in the right
Yeah.
movie? Like,
Exactly. So like that kind of stuff I thought was weird and sort of disappointing. But again, like it looked like the way I pictured the world looking when I read the book. So that it got that part right. And then they made the other version like, years later. And that one I thought like they got the characters and like, the Fremen were better, like they were actually more like badasses. They could fight and everything. But then it also kind of had that made for TV look to it where it didn't
have the
like the
budget.
world didn't look quite right, like the lighting and everything, just it didn't feel like the same world to me. So it's like each one of them sort of got a different piece right, and this version I feel like really nailed it. It looked the way it should. It like the characters acted the way they should. I thought it was paced for the most part really well. Like it really felt like the book. Things took a reasonable amount of time to like progress and characters to grow and stuff, but it's also really long. And so like there are times where it really does drag a bit too much and they like didn't really add a lot of exposition to explain why some things were happening or like why some people or some factions were important and how different characters related to each other. So like I was relying on some of my knowledge from the book while I was watching it, but it's been a long time and I'm like, okay, I get what's happening, but at the same time, I'm also still a little bit confused or a little bit lost. And I can only imagine someone who's going into it for the first time, how they're going to feel. The other problem is it only covers the first half of the first book, which is kind of fine in that there's a lot of shit that happens in that book. So it's like, okay, if you can't cram it all into one movie and do it right, then I get why you'd break it up. But the problem with that, and it's not a problem with like the story of Dune specifically, but just if you break up any book into multiple parts, it's really hard for it to feel satisfying by the end. So you get all the way to the end of this movie, and it's like it feels like nothing is really resolved. Like a bunch of shit happened. You get to see a bunch of characters. There was a lot of drama happening, and then it's over. So like it's just going to make you want the next part to come out, and I have no idea like when that's going to be because they haven't said. This one just barely hit theaters. So
Well, yeah, and I remember that was kind of a lot of people's scares was because of it, like also being on HBO Max and
yeah.
going like out that it wasn't going to hit the numbers it needed at the box
Right.
office and stuff to guarantee a sequel. So then people are like, did this amazing part one's going to come out, but
Right.
then no one's going to go see it, and then they were not going to pull the trigger on part two because it didn't make enough money.
Yeah, that really concerns me. Like this whole HBO Max thing, or even like Disney Plus, like putting movies out on streaming services at the same time they come out in theaters. I'm not a fan of it just for that reason. Like I'm all for like options. I'm all for people having options on ways to watch things, but I really don't like that they're putting them out at the same time in different like medias like that because I really do think it's going to hurt box office sales. And I know like some of the other guys like I think Tanner really like is really like tapped into like Hollywood like box office and all that stuff and he
Yeah.
seems to know how that stuff is doing, and it sounds like maybe it's not quite the box office killer that I'm concerned that it's going to be. But like why would you take the chance? Why would you put stuff out in all these different places right off the bat when you really want if you really want movie theaters to be successful and make the big dollars? It seems like they're shooting themselves in the foot. Like why not just let it hit theaters first and then like a week later or 2 weeks later or something put it on all the streaming services? I don't care. The people that want to see it right away are going to pay the money and go to the theater, and then everyone that wants to see it at home, well, that's the trade-off, is that you just have to wait a little bit, but then you can watch it for a lot cheaper. So that's just my opinion. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, honestly, since like I haven't been back to the movie theaters and stuff, and it's like I could. It's just one of those things. So it's like most of the people I used to go to the movies with and stuff. It's like don't now, like whatever. So it's like I'm not
Mhm.
going to go to the movies by myself to like see shit. That's why it's like I haven't seen Shang-Chi yet
Oh,
or
dude,
whatever,
so
and
good.
it's I'm like waiting. I know, so I'm basically waiting for it to come to Disney Plus, just because it's
Yeah,
like everyone that I would go with the movies has already seen it, and then it's like
yeah.
Megan has like no interest in seeing it, so it's like I'm not gonna go see it by myself at the movie theater.
Well,
So
if you've got time to see a movie, like when it's coming out and you're interested in it, hit me up because I'll go to the theater. Like I love going to the theater still. And honestly, like the experience, especially here in Arizona, where like restrictions, like COVID restrictions, are super lax. It's like you practically don't have to carry a mask around anymore because, like, even the businesses that are like, we strongly recommend wearing a mask. It's just a recommendation, and almost nobody does it. So same thing with theaters. They're like, yeah, wear your mask, or like we kind of suggest that you wear your mask until you sit down and eat your popcorn and stuff, but like nobody is. So it's whatever. If it concerns you, you can always wear it, as much as you want until you start putting popcorn in your mouth, I guess. But
yeah,
but yeah, it's really not that bad. It feels just like going to the movies before, honestly. But yeah, like I said, I'll go if it's a movie I haven't seen yet, especially. Ronnie and I tend to try to see like the really big stuff, like when it comes out, like at least that weekend, not necessarily like the first night, but we try to get them pretty quick. But it depends on the movie. I don't see everything right away, and there's a lot of things I just don't see in the theater. I'm like, I want to see it, but I can wait. So
yeah,
yeah, just
same.
let me know.
And it's like one of those where it's like I know for sure, like one of the like ones that it's like I literally am going to have to go, like no matter what, is going to be Spider-Man.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
it is definitely mostly just because it's like the second that movie comes out, like the internet is going to be riddled with
Yeah,
spoilers, and I do not want it
yeah.
like any twists, any whatever, whether
Oh,
they
totally.
are happen, don't happen. It's like I don't want any of that ruined for me.
Did you see the new Venom movie yet?
No,
Oh, did you at least not have the little stinger at the end of the trailer in that one spoiled for you at least?
Oh, the after credit thing. I've
Yeah,
heard it's cool, but I haven't heard what it is.
it's
So,
cool. It's honestly, it's not like it's so the
dude,
movie was
you
okay.
can honestly tell me like it's okay. Like I don't care.
I don't. I hate
I
spoiling things for
I know
people.
it's okay. I don't care. Like I will watch it at some point, but I can't guarantee like when I'm gonna
Right.
watch it. So
Well, honestly, like the thing that they show at the end of the credits in that movie is kind of the thing that I think everybody who went to see that movie was sort of expecting that they're going to show at some point, which is essentially a connection between Venom and Spider-Man. It's like a little teaser at the end that had to do with Spider-Man, and you're like, "Oh shit, they just connected them." So
well, what did they do?
there's that. Well, so obviously, how like all of the Marvel stuff lately, like the TV shows and everything, have all been kind of like uh going all in with this whole multiverse thing, where like the multiverse is getting mixed up. Like there's all these different like versions of everything that are happening. Like Loki
Yeah,
is like
Loki and
fucking up the timeline,
WandaVision
and
and stuff has been
yeah,
like,
and then now we saw the what if thing and all that. So it's just kind of tapping into that whole thing where, and like you saw in the trailer for Spider-Man, right, where he comes to Doctor Strange and was like, "Hey, I need to fix this," and then it looks like it just fucks everything up even more.
yeah.
So basically, the end credits thing in Venom was like, it looks like part of the aftermath of probably Peter and Doctor Strange doing their spell. It looks like you're starting to see what that did, because like you got Eddie Brock sitting in a hotel room with Venom in his head talking to him, and they're just like kicking it, and all of a sudden like something happens, like an earthquake or something, and like the room kind of like glitches or something, and it looks like things change slightly, like the decor in the room is like different all of a sudden. So
Mm.
like it got mixed with like a different reality or whatever, and then there's like a newscasting on TV that's playing, and you hear them talking about Spider-Man. It's like, I think you hear like Jonah
Okay,
Jameson's
yeah.
voice talking about Spider-Man. It shows him on the screen, and Venom's just like, you hear Venom's voice, he's like, "That guy." Like I don't know if that means he knows him, or if he's just like, I don't know, recognizes who he is, or has a sense about him or what. But yeah, it's just like this little teaser. It's like, oh shit, okay, they're somehow bringing this in
That's cool.
together.
Yeah, I wasn't
Yeah,
sure if they were gonna try and keep like those IPs like kind of separated since it was
right.
like a Sony kind of entity before Marvel picked it up.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, because I
Well, hell,
know,
if they can have Spider-Man in the Marvel MCU movies, then why can't they do whatever the hell they want? They just have to like convince Sony that it's cool, right?
yeah, I just wasn't sure, yeah, if they were gonna like merge that because it's like I know there's been talk of like how they're gonna merge like Deadpool and stuff into like the MCU and stuff like that, which I think was like part of them doing that, like the Deadpool Christmas whatever one where they like did a PG-13 version of it. I think to try
I
and
never
like
saw that.
I never saw it either, but I mean it's literally just Deadpool 2, but they changed it from like R to like PG-13 by like editing some like stuff around.
That's so weird.
Yeah. So I was like wondering if that was like really the reason like behind that was to try and get like a PG-13 kind of Deadpool movie in there to try and like merge
Yeah.
that into the Marvel universe somehow.
Am I the only one that thought Deadpool 2 wasn't very good? I really didn't like it.
I thought it had good moments. Like I
Yeah,
thought it
yeah.
definitely had some funny moments, but
The whole ending was kind of neat with the like time like reversal stuff and whatever, but
yeah, I mean
I
between
didn't
one
like
and
the kid like at all. Like that kid character, the teenager, I can't remember what the fuck his deal was. I thought he was obnoxious as hell.
I mean, I thought he had some funny like when he like referred to it as like his prison wallet or whatever, like I thought
Yeah.
he had some like funny like little one-liners and stuff, but
Felt like they were trying too hard.
well, that too. I was like,
Right.
yeah, they kind of like pumped him up like higher. But I guess
Yeah.
like when Deadpool's like the main character and he's very like over the top, they feel that like they have to make other people maybe slightly over the top too to kind of like
Yeah.
otherwise he'll just seem really fucking over the top compared to everybody else.
Yeah. Maybe. It's been a long time since I saw it though.
Yeah, I do. I can't believe that the whole reason that movie even got made was because that person leaked that like test footage or whatever of um the Deadpool stuff. Did you ever see that or like know about
I don't know
that?
what this is. No, what
Yeah,
is
no,
this?
there was test footage of like for like a Deadpool movie and stuff, and it was like the suit and like the people were kind of like the whole like him coming in through the car scene and like landing in and killing like those people and stuff at the very beginning of one.
Oh, the first one. Okay.
Yeah, the very
Yeah.
first one. That was the test footage, and it was basically that scene of Deadpool like on like a bridge, and then he falls into the car, and then has like the swords
Yeah.
is like cutting off people's head, like fighting the dude. And that was they had Ryan Reynolds do a voiceover for that happening, and
Huh.
to test for him as like Deadpool in this like movie,
Huh.
and it kind of got put on the shelf, and nothing ever came of it. And then someone like found that footage and leaked it online, and it
Hmm.
like blew up like overnight to then where the point that like talks started happening and then like the movie actually got made. And it's funny that that's like the very starting scene of the movie is that test footage that like started it all, and it was
Nice.
almost to a T the exact same. They made some changes here and there,
Hmm.
but like with him drawing in crown with the picture and stuff, that entire thing was in there. So
Yeah,
it's
that
like
was a great
cool that that
opening.
like transitioned like into the movie, and that's like kind of like what they started with is like the homage to like what made this entire
Nice.
thing happen.
Nice. So I feel like we can't go an episode without me asking how Negative Space is going.
Dude, I know. I haven't worked on it in like quite a while. And it's just because I just got frustrated with it just because the tools I was using, Game Maker and stuff,
Yeah.
was just it constantly updated, and every time it updated, it
Uh,
broke something in the game.
yeah.
And this one of the last times it updated, it broke a couple things and I fixed it, but there's one thing that I hadn't been able to fix, and it's like I
Mm.
tried and like I emailed them like trying to figure out like
Jeez.
what they like what happened that like broke it, and was like waiting to see if like any future updates would kind of fix it, and I tried like
Mm.
updating and it didn't fix my problem. So I just kind of got like frustrated with it and needed some time like away from it
Yeah.
after dealing with it. So I've been
Shit.
um I mean, I've also just been busy like doing other stuff, and then like I've gotten more into like doing video editing and stuff and trying to make like videos. So I've been working on that a lot. But
Yeah.
there is like um I'd say like at the moment it's like just two other like little games or whatever that I've been working on. And like I started working on this other one and I got to a point and then kind of just stopped. And then I started working on another one. And then I actually got inspired like 3 days ago or whatever, to return back to that other one because I kind of got to a point and didn't know where to go with it. And then it like hit me. So I went back and like changed a bunch of stuff. And now that one, it's just a little game, but it's almost done. I just
Cool.
have a couple levels left to like finish it. And then I want to do some like music for it. And then like just like a little menu thing or whatever, make it like functional. But,
Nice.
but yeah, so I just kind of wanted to get like, I don't know, something like little and like just done out of the way, to just feel like I'm doing something instead of just
Right.
fixing the same fucking broken shit over and over again because it just gets so defeating
Yeah.
after a while.
Oh, totally. Do you with Game Maker? Do you have to update the software? Does it automatically update and you
Uh,
can't control it? Because like
so
with Unity, like I would just not update for like years at a time until like I had to for some reason.
so that's what happened. So what happened was I owned Game Maker through Steam, and so
Hmm.
Steam would auto update it.
Yeah.
And that's what happened is it auto updated and you can't I basically couldn't revert it back. Even downloading like an older version of Game Maker to do whatever, like it didn't fix my problem. Like whatever they
Damn.
did, the damage was done. Um, so after that happened though, I downloaded a like version of Game Maker outside of Steam so it won't auto update. And then it like
Hmm.
prompts me now. It's like, oh, like you're on this version, the news, and I just every time I'm like, no, like I don't want to update now, like whatever. But I learned my lesson with that. So then now it's like the stuff I'm working on, I'm like, I don't want to update Game Maker again until that stuff is done so that I know everything works and it doesn't fuck with anything.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So yeah, that was like a one of those like hard lessons to learn. It's like not saving all the time, when you're like sitting there doing a bunch of
Right.
shit and then it crashes and you're like open up the program again. You're like, God damn it! Like, where's the and then you realize like you
Yeah.
lost like fucking like 15 minutes of work and it's like, dude, God damn it!
Yeah.
And you have to go back and redo a bunch of stuff.
Yeah. Fucking sucks. I actually finally upgraded my Unity after I actually got a new computer like month and a half ago, something like that. Because my old MacBook was falling apart. Like I posted pictures on Facebook. I don't know if you saw when I
Yeah,
upgraded. Because did you see that, dude? My MacBook was so like shot. Like the battery was swollen to the point where the trackpad was getting like pushed out of the frame and it was cracking. The trackpad had like cracked in two places because it had so much pressure underneath it, just pushing it up, and I couldn't use it at all anymore. It wouldn't respond to like clicks. And it was like pushing the frame of the computer underneath like outward, so it was like splitting open, like it was about to like explode. And I had like my keys were getting worn out, and like it was just ridiculous. It was so worn out, but I was still like using it, like it was still functional up until like the last minute. And I just like shut it off and sitting in my closet. But like I could like fire it up; it still functions, but I have to use like an external keyboard and an external mouse and
at
all this
that point,
stuff.
it's like, what's the point?
Right. But that's how I was like working with it for the last like 2 years. It was like in that condition for like a long time. And I was like, well, I can still use it. I just have to use these other peripherals to make it work. Um, but yes, that was my Final Fantasy Renaissance machine right there that made that game. So I finally got a new computer. I was like, I'm done with the project. I'm done with that project. It's time to upgrade. I want to start working on something new. So I got a new computer and I installed Unity and just got the latest version. I'm like, okay, let's see what the latest version's like because I haven't upgraded in forever. And there's like all kinds of nice features in there actually. It's pretty good, but yeah, hopefully I won't run into any compatibility issues anytime soon with that since I have a brand new version. We'll
That's
see.
nice. So I know that's like for the video editing software I use, like DaVinci Resolve. It was like the same thing after the Game Maker scare thing. I was like, it kept telling me like, oh, you can update. And I'm like, dude, I don't know,
Yeah, nope.
like update stuff, like So, but I was just
Yeah.
like, okay, whatever. So I did, and I updated it, and I was so happy I did because now like booting up, it loads like twice as fast as it did before on my like computer, and then exporting is even faster now too. So it just seems like, I would randomly have it sometimes like crash on me, like when editing stuff. If I was like moving around too quick on the screen, it was like too many scenes where like whatever up at once, it would fucking crash. And I haven't had that issue once since I like updated it and stuff. So it's like the first time where I'm like, yes, updating it actually did something cool and didn't like fuck all my shit up.
Yeah, nice. Well, I hope you're able to figure out that thing with negative space. That sucks to get that far and then be just kind of like
No,
kneecapped.
and it is, and it's one of those things where it's like ultimately, like, if it never gets fixed, I honestly will just end up having like just cut that world, cut that mechanic, like, because it's like mechanic involved and stuff, and that's the problem. Is it like is not only in that world, but it's in other worlds that like use that mechanic or whatever, like that all have the same issue. So it's like either just have to replace it altogether or just cut like that stuff out and rework those levels like without it. Which is just something that's like, if I have to, I'll do. It's like I really don't want to because I like it and stuff, but just to get it like out of the way and just be fucking done with it and move on with my life to like do other stuff.
Yeah. Well, how much longer do you want to go here? Because I'm out of water.
It's fine. I was really happy I was able to get you on at the last, I know it was kind of last minute. I bet, yeah, you're like on the plane, like, let me see.
Yeah,
but,
I like I think I don't remember if I just landed in Phoenix getting back home or if I was like in between. I think I was like in Denver or something about to get on my next plane when I saw your message. And I was like, oh shit. Like, I don't know about tomorrow. I'm going to be fucking tired.
But I'm very happy I was able to get you on. I'm happy that Final Fantasy Renaissance is done, and if you haven't played it, I recommend you go to Brandon's Discord. I'll have a link for it down at the bottom for the YouTube video and stuff, so you can go join his Discord, check it out.
Please do. It's been quiet lately over there because I haven't been making any updates in a little while, but I don't want to call the project dead because I still have ideas to put in it. I actually have 2 new job classes that I'm like partially done with. One of them is actually like coded, and I just have to like work out some of the bugs with it. So like I do have like new stuff to add to it, but I haven't officially put that into like the latest public build or anything yet. But if I get enough interest from people like playing the game and it kind of gets like a resurgence or something, that'll probably get me to like jump back onto that project and be like, okay, let me crank out some stuff now. So definitely want to get people playing it.
Right. And then I'm super excited that for the December episode, we're going to have the first annual gift exchange. And for that one, it will actually be like a full video podcast. And then we're going to have Brandon, Matt, Troy, and Tanner on. And we are all part of the gift exchange. And then at the very end of the podcast, we're going to open our gifts and do our Secret Santa.
Yeah, that should be fun. I put a bunch of ideas for myself up there, but I haven't checked yet to see if the person that I drew gave me any ideas. I'll have to do that soon.
Yeah, I was like, Brandon's ideas are a bunch of anime women figurines.
A lot of them.
Most of them. But it is in socks. It's like socks, anime figurines.
Right. Some DVDs. That's about it. Yeah. Plenty of ideas.
But as always, I appreciate you coming on, and I appreciate you guys listening. And I will catch you guys later.